Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly, sometimes question mark, Final Fantasy podcast. We're continuing a Podcast Highlight Month with another guest. What else is there to say in this intro? We will actually have quite a bit to say when we start the show though, so let's get into that. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Happy. Of course, joining me is Sly, aka Sly the Fox, aka Sly, aka Gray Fox, aka you, my boy Blue. I haven't done that in a while, but you reminded me of it pre-show.
I reminded you to do it for Frosty though. Like, yeah, I don't like,
but now I needed to warm up.
It's your thing though.
Yeah, and Frosty, right. I don't have like, it's not scripted, so like, it's like, because then, in case you haven't figured it out somehow, if you're listening to this, our other guest is Frosty, aka the Mogtalk Madman, aka Feast Commentator, aka World Race Organizer, aka You're My Boy Snowman.
Mog. You're my boy Koopo. You're my boy Koopo.
There you go.
Koopo. I'll take it.
We figured it out. What's going on, man?
We did it.
Not much.
I really struggled through that. That was tough.
It was good. I appreciate the struggle, though. Yeah, I do. I appreciate you guys bringing me on. Of course, I have to say it. I'm not. It means a lot you guys brought me on because I don't think I deserve to be on. You guys are so kind and wonderful. And
stop it.
And it'll make more sense why you're on later when we actually start talking about you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then you'll get all these kind words of encouragement, and you'll be like, "Wow, that really makes sense. I should be here more often." And we'll say,
I'm a streamer.
You shouldn't.
I need these kind words of encouragement.
There you go. All right. Well, before we get started, we don't really need to, just go right into it. Some of you may have noticed there was not a show last week. Normally we do the sponsor shout out here, and I've made mention of it in a few of my other videos on the channel, but last week we were respecting Blackout Tuesday, where we were not producing content. Sly and I both didn't stream that day. We decided not to do the show that day, so that people could take some time to become more educated, support Black Lives Matter. It is something that we are aligned with on the show. We support it big time. I mean, Sly, I love you. And I'm going to be there for you, right?
Thank you.
It's love.
And he, like, Happy has, like, he has hit me up. Like, when he hasn't heard from me, he will hit me up on Twitter, or, like, he'll probably text me and say, Sly, you okay? Like, yeah. Like, that's my boy. That's
my boy. You my boy Blue.
Thank you.
Or purple, in the case of Velvet, I suppose. Makes a little bit more sense.
It's blue.
Is it? I'm colorblind, so tell me.
It's pretty blue. Yeah,
it's a velvet room though.
They're colorblind too when they named it, I guess.
There you go.
I mean, velvet can be any color. It's just a fabric. Yeah, I guess.
So just letting you guys know, that's why there wasn't a show this week. And also there are some resources. I took that day to go around signing petitions and donated to a few causes. And the same exact resource that I used for that, I've been linking under my other YouTube videos. And of course, we're going to be linking it under this video. It is also Pride Month. So we've also been linking Timber Project resources. We've supported them in the past. It's a website that allows that, and a hotline where LGBTQ youth can call in, has a suicide prevention hotline and stuff like that. So want to support the causes. So they definitely needed to.
And one other thing I want to mention. Yes, it's Pride Month, and yes, there is a lot going on in the world right now. Pride Month ends. The movement might die down, but it's not truly over.
No.
So what I want to say is that, while it might die down, we are still Black. It may be another day on Twitter or another day on Twitch, but I'm still Black. And this is still America. So don't let, the movement dying down on Twitter or anything deter you from, still supporting. We need your support. Hell, LGBTQ need your support any day of the week, not just for a month, not just for Black History Month. No, we all need your support, day in and day out. So don't let that stop you, please.
Yeah.
Well said.
I'm glad we get to kind of address this on the show, because going way back to the early days of State of the Realm, I know you used to, I don't know if you still read them, Sly, but I know you used to read the comments on the really old State of the Realm, and there's been some disgusting shit on my YouTube channel. We've gone through, we have deleted them when we've seen them, but it's fucking disgusting. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The online community is horrible with this stuff too.
Yeah.
Just people wanting to troll and be as horrible as they can. I've
Right.
seen all the stuff, and as soon as you say anything, you get attacked by people. Oh, social justice warrior, da. There's so many people trying to deter you from this stuff, and fuck them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's it.
Exactly.
So please check under the video over on YouTube for resources they can use. It shouldn't be hard for you to find resources either. They're all over the place, especially
Really?
if you're on social media right now. So be sure to look around, find out what you can do, and sign up to vote, damn it! If you haven't. I had to double check
Yes,
my address because
please.
I did move since the last time I voted, so I had to update that. So
Yeah. There's a lot of tricky stuff with technicalities and voting that you have to make sure are in line, like constantly every time it
God.
comes around. So I stayed on top of it for the most part, so I'm good.
I got back on top of
Good.
it because I was going to wait like until the last minute, and then it would have been a disaster. So felt extra motivated as of late. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. So that's our very serious start to the show. Now let's move into the sponsors. We're still not going to talk about 14 yet because now we got to talk about the people who support this show. Yes. We, of course, have Steel Series, who has been sponsoring my channel for quite some time. We have a 12% discount code, Mr. Happy 12, for that. But honestly, if you're going to buy a headset, go to the first thing we talked about and click on those links instead. How about that? I think Steel Series would be in line with me saying that's part of the sponsor message. So we do a monthly giveaway, however. That's free, no matter what. So go and sign up for that in the description of the YouTube video as well. It's free stuff from Steel Series. What do you have to lose? And of course, our patrons, they get their full shout out later in the show because we generally have long intros, even when we're not trying to be very serious in the opener. So patrons, thank you. Your names are scrolling in the top right, and I probably just pointed the wrong way, and that's fine. So with that, let's talk about Final Fantasy 14. What's that
Yes.
slide? Okay.
Let's do that.
Chocobo racing, right?
Right.
First
right.
topic.
Why? Who did you pay to put that comment in my chat? You gave him that
Nobody.
500 bits. All right, I know
did
you
it. I did it. I swear I did it.
But yeah, let's get to some pretty sad, but we saw this coming type news of Yoshi P officially canceling FanFest. Again, we saw it coming. North American FanFest, mind you.
Yeah,
We
North
saw it
America is the only one that's been formally canceled at this point.
So I think the thing that stands out the most to me about that is that everybody received it pretty adult, I guess, maturely.
Yeah.
They saw it and they're like, yes, that makes sense. I'm sad, but this makes sense. And I think I'm actually pretty impressed by the community for responding that way, not throwing a fit and trying to, because what are they going to do? They're going to host the event and people are going to be in the gift bag you're going to have mask is going to be one of the things that they
I'm
have.
not gonna lie, that'd be pretty dope.
Probably, yeah.
It'd be
I would
dope
think
as
so.
shit.
Hand sanitizer. I mean, they can throw all kinds of stuff in there, but I think that they made the right choice, obviously. And it's a lot to ask them to kind of put this early 2021. I hope they do, but I mean, they would have to push a lot of stuff. I want to ask one question from all of this from you guys real quick though. With the patch being pushed, with us losing NA FanFest at least at the start, do you think the expansion is going to be kind of pushed for quite a while too? Like, are we going to see like a Christmas
Absolutely.
expansion?
At least as long as this patch has been delayed.
Yeah. So I'd say like fall-ish, and that's reasonable to kind of expect with the way the development schedule has gone now. So yeah, to think, hey, we're getting a expansion next summer. No, we're not.
I still think August
fam.
is possible, but
I mean, it's
I don't know.
reasonable. Yeah,
end of August.
but to expect like June, July, nah.
Okay.
No, because so what's been happening with every expansion is the first one was I think like June 20th, then it was like June 23rd, then it was July 2nd, I think was the official. So it started like in late June and it's kind of like moved into like early July. So I was expecting like a mid-July release for this one. So now I'm pushing that if I just add the 6 weeks, like they estimated 6 weeks, like end of August at the earliest is when I'd expect it. I'm amazed that they say they want to hold it in early 2021. if they can, because I'm like, nah, dude, just do the digital event like you teased that as well. Just do that. Just do
Yeah, no, I was about to ask that. Like, would you be more amenable to them just doing a digital event and just foregoing Fantastic Simon and just getting back on track the next expansion?
Here's what you do. You make an instance of East Shroud. You take where the wedding chapel is and you hold it there. In game.
So, do you have to pay a ticket to log into the server? A ticket price?
No. Just make it. Just start instantly.
I mean, okay. I see this, and I see where you're going with this. I mean, because me and Haps have been playing PSO2, and you know how they have the billboards and everything, like not the billboards, but the video screens where you can watch like trailers and shit like that. Yeah, they could possibly do something like that in game. I mean, it would take a lot of, it would take a little bit of development, maybe a lot. I don't know.
No, the server crash would be a problem. Yeah, that'd be the real problem.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they could split it up into different, every data center has those different server for it. And then they just have multiple events happening simultaneously or whatever at the same time where they're doing the exact same thing. Maybe be a little bit out of sync, but it could work. I don't know. That's a lot of work.
Could be really cool. I think they just do a live stream.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that would be the coolest if they actually put and made it an in-game event instead of that, and then you could do it on all the servers and it's just like a global fan fest. Because I'm not gonna lie, they haven't formally canceled Japan yet, but Japan was like a month after NA on the schedule. So
yeah, well, I don't know. It's easier for them to kind of cut it close with Japan, I think, because they're all local there. Maybe it's a little bit easier for them to. Maybe I don't know. I think they are opening stuff back up in Japan right now, aren't they?
They're out of state of emergency, so they can. There's some room to do it, but obviously that's different than having 50,000 people or what. It's not that many, like 20,000 people in the location where they hold the Tokyo Game Show. Oh no, actually, I think they said they were moving it away from that one. I don't remember. Either way, it's way different than hosting a live event,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's depressing because FanFest was something every 2 years that you look forward to, right? It's like the event for us. We work with the Final Fantasy 14 community all the time, and then we have this one event every 2 years to go out and just mingle and see everybody and drink and be stupid and get. Well,
we weren't gonna get the gamble this year, but every other year.
Nah.
Yeah, so it is sad. It really does. It's a cherry on top of a horrible 2020, but it's a necessary one, I guess. It's something that we just have to know it's there. Experience it.
Yeah, there's not much we can do. I do think they formally canceled Japan and potentially Europe, and then Europe's right now is literally a makeshift hospital. Obviously, it may not be like that in however many months, but we literally have no idea.
Yeah.
Or they just push everything, the expansion, everything 1 year.
All right. I'm going to need you. All right, Satan, listen.
And then we start this whole cycle
take
again,
about
2021.
50% off there. Take about 50%.
Take about 80% off. All right. Take about 80% off.
Push the whole cycle 6 months. How about 50%? Right. 6 months. Well,
you're not quite Satan, but you're certainly the guy who runs the River Styx or something at this. No, it can't be.
Look,
Charon.
NA FanFest April, and then we start having all the other FanFests kind of after that. They just push it all 6 months, and then the expansion release 6 months further, and we just deal with it. It's Corona 6 months, and we gotta have it.
I'm gonna opt into the not 6 month option and keep my hopes at about that 6 to 8 week mark of delay.
Okay,
I'm gonna keep my hope there. That's where it's leveled at. But it is the reality of the situation. But they are doing something that kind of surprised me, and something I thought they really should have been doing. They brought back the Final Fantasy XI event, the Aroha one during this downtime, which not something major, taking no more than an hour to do, but we haven't seen a rerun in, I think, since the last Yokai Watch one, which we're getting again after 5.3, by the way.
I remember doing this event a long time ago, and I saw it come up. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a horrible person, and I don't really do seasonal events. I just skip over completely.
That doesn't make you horrible. It's okay. Like, you can skip out on some of the seasonal events. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I see it and I'm like, that's work, and then what do I get out of it? I'm like, there's some cosmetics. And I think, man, I would rather just kind of play another game or do something else or read this giant book I bought on getting my Security Plus exam done. And, you know,
I'm
a boring person. It is
yeah,
work.
that's not work.
I look at it and I see money, right?
Talking to a few people, hey, even skipping the cutscene itself, that's work, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I did skip the relic cutscene a little bit. I did that for the first time recently. I skipped one of the first couple of them because I was like, Stormblood stuff, I don't really care. Then I started getting into like the stuff afterwards. I don't know. Maybe I'm in spoiler territory now.
No, spoiler cast. We already did spoiler cast on all this stuff. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, once I started seeing like Sid flail on the cot or something, I was like, okay, maybe there's something else going on here, and I watched the whole thing.
You mean the flash forward specifically?
Yeah, the flash forward thing, and I thought that was kind of interesting. My PC just came up and said, "Hey, do you want to reset?" And I said, "Not now." I'm hoping it doesn't just randomly shut down on me. If it does, I'll be back shortly. So I just wanted to let you know.
You want to shut down?
Completely off topic.
No. Are you sure? My PC's
yeah, we're gonna shut you down in maybe about an hour or later on tonight. Yeah, it's fine.
I just imagine Windows with its hands on its hips, like.
You want to shut down? Yeah, you want to do it. I know you're in the middle of some stuff, but look, we just do it now. We won't do it later tonight when you turn your computer off or whatever. Just now, whatever, Windows. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I was doing that recently, and I forget why I even brought that up, but. I didn't even do relics before. Like I skipped a whole bunch of relics. There's so many things I skipped out on because I looked at it and I saw it was work, and I said I'd rather raid or play PvP, and I just did that instead.
It's reasonable. I think that's probably the biggest. A question that's always really weird to me whenever we have downtimes like this, and honestly, we've never had quite a downtime like this, but is people go, "What should I do?" And I go, "What do you want to do?" And they go,
"Whatever the fuck you want to do."
I'm huge on that. Huge. If you're at a point to where there's nothing in Final Fantasy 14 that you want to do, just don't do it. It's just going to make you hate the game. There's no reason.
Exactly. Thank you.
And that's
my... No. Wait. Hey, Frosty, did you quit 14? Did you quit 14?
No, I didn't play it for a while. But
I
didn't quit it.
It took me a second to figure out where you were going with that. For anyone wondering, for those of you who catch this on YouTube or audio formats, when we're live streaming on Twitch and we're not playing 14, we get asked probably an hour. I've had this happen. I'm playing 14. I play it from like 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and I swap to another game and it's 10:30 and I get the "Did you quit?" and I'm like,
you know what? Yeah. I fucking quit.
It's done.
I fucking quit. I'm done. I'm raiding with Layla on fucking WoW now. Fuck it.
All those people are assholes that play that game. Anyone who plays Final Fantasy 14.
I thought you were going to say WoW.
Let's go to WoW. Oh, no, WoW. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. I played WoW for 10 years. That's game. You know what? That reminds me. We were talking about the Final Fantasy 14 thing. And the thing that really is strange how it reminded me of this. But the thing that I was most upset is that you're not going to get the Primals concert in NA. We're going to miss that. That's the only time we get... Yeah, do it because they did it in WoW in game. They had the level 70 chieftain thing that they had playing over and over again at a certain time of the day. They could just put primals in there.
Yeah, it was in Dalaran, I think.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No. It was in what was the Draenei city?
Yeah, I can't remember. The name.
I think it was in the Draenei city in the lower parts.
Somebody in chat probably knows it. I can't remember what it is.
Because Dalaran's Wrath. I mean, it's technically not just Wrath, but it's Wrath. Exodar.
Yeah,
might have been an Exodar.
Exodar. Yeah. That sounds Shatrath.
Shatrath. Yes, the one that's actually in Outland. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. Yeah. It's been too long. I remember Wrath and everything after way better than
such a good expansion. Oh man, it's over. But this isn't a WoW show.
That's fine.
We're just making fun of Layla.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's an Animal Crossing show.
Yeah, we can make it an Animal Crossing show.
Right.
Leaf was on my island today. He sells leaves.
I actually, you know what? I haven't actually played Animal Crossing in a handful of days. I just haven't logged in.
Oh, a handful of days, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wait, you actually play?
Yeah, I have like 67 million bells or something, and I was like, you know, at some point I was like, oh, man, I kind of don't need anything. I guess if I want some like items.
I log in to check for Gulliver and Celeste because I don't want to ever miss Gulliver and I don't want to ever miss Celeste.
Yeah, I missed the song Saturday, and I was like, I guess I'm just done. I don't know. I think I have a floor of rotting turnips somewhere, and I feel bad about it, but because it was such a good distraction for so long. But I think I'm at the point. Oh,
if you don't log in for 30 days, you actually get bedhead as a. Do
you?
Yeah. As a hairstyle.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. There you go. You're well on your way to bedhead, my friend.
I guess now I have a goal. Don't log in for 25 more days.
Just don't play for 25 more days, and you're good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jeez.
Hi, Sly.
What's up, Sly?
Yeah.
Do you play Animal Crossing?
No, he doesn't.
No, I don't. Oh, don't worry. This is gonna happen again when we talk about you. When we get to you, it's gonna happen again. It's not even gonna be Animal Crossing, but you know,
we'll find some game to relate, and you just won't be able to relate to it. No, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's funny? Just to throw this on there. I grew up playing with a whole bunch of people playing WoW, like for a long time, so long. And I'll go hang out with them every once in a while because now I live close to them. And Kerr, my wife, would go with us, and she never played WoW. And we'd start talking about memories with WoW, and it was so great. And she'd have to sit there for an hour or two listening to us. She's like, yeah, cool. I felt so bad.
Cool. Cool, she said.
Yeah, just not able to relate. Yeah. So it's all right, Sly. I think she understands how you feel.
But Frosty doesn't.
No, I don't. I play everything. I'm relevant to everything. No.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
So other than that, all we know is that they've reiterated during that FanFest announcement that they are still actually not at 100%. We were under the impression, based on some other translations, that they were near it, but they're still kind of near 100%. They're just not all the way there. But Yoshi P is actually going to be starting to do some of the producer, director QA checks soon, where he's their last line of defense before like if they release something or have to rebalance something. And he's already kind of started, apparently, because he was playing the new Relic Zone, Bajja, and he forgot what he was supposed to be testing because he was just playing it. I was supposed to test this thing and that thing and that thing. He's like, I forgot. I was just doing it. That's it. So that gives me a little bit of hope, because if we had Bajja right now, I probably wouldn't be dealing with the withdrawals of 14, because I've found a lot of ways to spend hours in Eureka, so I could probably have found them the same with Bajja if we had gotten that.
Is it going to be just like Eureka?
They said it's good. It's based on it, like the feedback is based on it, but it's not going to have the same like flow. I'm still of the opinion it's going to be more like a Warzone, where it's like, taking outposts and like defending outposts and stuff like that, because
PvP?
It's a Warzone. No, PvE. But like still running. Come on now, man. When is it ever going to be PvP?
Never mind. I was going to get into spicy news about PvP. I won't do that. Anyways.
Okay.
Well, I'll put it because it's all rumor stuff, but we don't know where PvP is going to be anymore for Final Fantasy 14.
We haven't known where it was for years now. What are you talking about?
It's probably at its lowest point it's ever been at right now.
No, yeah, I saw people doing rival wings, man.
Yeah, they have. I can't wait to shoutcast some rival wings.
Hey, he got a brute justice. Yeah. Oh, he's also got a brute justice. They're punching. They're lasering. Yeah. He's blasting.
No, it's. We'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. But PvP in Final Fantasy 14, this whole expansion. It's funny, they did a lot of PvP stuff with the last expansion, but this expansion seems to be crafting. So if you're a crafter, this has been
or a fisher.
Jam.
Yeah.
This is your jam,
you're
son.
Fishing right now. Yeah, there's been a lot of crafting in Gap. There's been a lot of focus in bringing the low level people, like trying to encourage them to do it. and getting them up to the high level, and they've done like ocean fishing, diadem, Ishgard, over like sweeping changes to crafting. I tried leveling crafting and gathering with just a Realm Reborn content, no Ishgard, and I literally couldn't do anything other than my dailies because I out-leveled everything else I was trying to do. I would hand in like HQ Grand Company stuff that I crafted myself. I'd do the class quest, and I'd have gained 5 levels practically, and I would have just... I was like, oh, I'm going to stop and make leave quest items. I'm going to sell. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing that for?
Right.
It was pointless. But for
I'll
PvP,
let you know,
you're fucked.
You're screwed. I feel bad for anyone in the PvP community right now. I feel bad for it. Hopefully that will change. Maybe we'll come back next expansion or the end of this expansion. I don't know. I can tell you it doesn't look like we're going to be... I was hopeful last one. I'll let you know. I was hopeful last one. But I don't think there's going to be a regional championship at FanFest.
Well, there can't be because there's no FanFest.
Well, even at JP, yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway, sorry. I'm like the king of like derailing the conversation. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's the only reason this podcast goes
okay,
on
we
longer
do
than
that.
20 minutes.
Pretty much.
What's your name, Frosty? Okay, end show.
Yeah,
Done.
he was here. You can Google him. I don't need to say anything else.
Highlight it. You saw him. He was on the show.
Yeah, we need the Makai rerun. They need to get access to the Garo stuff again. I'm not gonna lie. I think they do realistically need another long-term PvP collaboration. I think they need more.
That did really well.
Yeah.
They need to do it. They're getting pretty close to having a pretty stable, decent system, even with all the netcode stuff. You can kind of just accept it and still enjoy it. But it's been a little bit depressing. But with FanFest and everything, which I think we were talking about.
No, we were definitely talking about FanFest. Yeah.
Do you think that means that we're not going to see a trailer until December?
Yeah.
At the earliest?
I don't think they'll just release the trailer online. Unless they substitute the day of that for a live stream. The day of the actual, like, of when FanFest would have been. If they do, like, a super long live stream. Or if they do a live letter on that day. Because they normally do a live letter at FanFest anyway. If they just make that the announcement. That's possible. But I'm not optimistic. Because I think all that work, push it back 6 weeks, including the trailer and everything. Push everything back at the very least is my guess, and that includes that.
Okay. Yeah, I think 6 months, everything. Just kill it 6 months. Just do it. It's done. You know,
stop saying
we can
6
just
months.
accept it.
I'm on weeks. Where did you added?
It's what it is.
Whole ass months.
And maybe we'll have even better content. Maybe the game will be even better. Like, right? They'll have more time to develop it and get over coronavirus issues and everything else and stabilize. And I'm okay with it. I mean, we have PSO2, right?
You almost just said PS2 there, and I know that. I've done that.
I tried. I succeeded.
You had to
I had a
look
little
for that.
stumble, but yeah.
Like PS.
Yeah. O2.
Two.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had to visualize it in my head.
Yeah.
PSO2. What else? Dauntless
Animal Crossing.
Update. We got Animal Crossing updates. That's the most important one. We've got Pokemon expansion. We've got new Paper Mario in July. We've got Crystal Chronicles in August. The Last of Us 2, which I forgot about until you mentioned it. There's plenty of stuff. We'll be good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So now that we've covered the very little bit of Final Fantasy 14 news, this is also Podcast Highlight Month. I didn't expect us to drag that on as long as we did, but as you said, Master of Derailing.
30 damn minutes. Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. You don't have to apologize.
I manage 2 hours in awkward conversations on my podcast every time that I do it.
Yeah.
Just awkwardly making it through it. Yeah.
Well, that's the big thing. So for Podcast Highlight Month, we've had you as a guest before, so obviously you were one of our easy picks, almost as a sense, for someone to come on again.
Okay.
Because you know we know everyone's kind of struggling in the space right now. We had 100% taken note that you hadn't been on 14 much as of late. You've been busy with life and everything. We follow you on social. You stop by our streams occasionally.
Yeah, we know.
So you get to talk to you. And that actually is a dynamic because the other 3 guests we've had are still like, you know, doing whatever they can to still produce some content. Yeah. But you're on the flip side. You're on kind of like the point where we would be if we didn't decide to do this month of podcast highlights.
I'm on complete hiatus. Yeah, and so I'm just not doing any content. I'm not streaming. I'm not doing anything. I may do a little bit if I get encouraged enough to do it, but it's been really rough. This whole year has been, besides coronavirus and, you know, all the other crazy stuff going on in the world, I've been trying to finish up a bachelor's degree that I never finished a decade ago. And so I've been going back to school, and I've been going at it extremely hard. I was telling you guys, I was essentially taking somewhere, I guess it was six courses throughout last semester and spring, while working full time as a system administrator. So I had to do a lot of different remote work and stuff to get people to work remotely from our business. And so it's been a very, very time intensive situation for me. I kind of, after the World Race event with Method and everything else and doing a couple of podcasts after that, I just had to kind of stop because I couldn't really keep up with it too well and produce a decent show. So I said, I'll hang back. And I was planning to come back, but then I had some other personal stuff that happened recently that really fucked me up. So I kind of said, all right, well, now I'm just really just going to take a long break. And just so you guys know, it's so weird. The most craziest thing the most depressing part of, I don't know, the last 3 decades of my life, one of the worst weeks was recently because I lost Frosty Jr., my puppy. And it's weird to say that because it was worse than like losing like a family member almost. It felt like I lost like a son. So it's been screwing with me enough to where I said I need to just kind of hang back until I can kind of be Frosty again. And so it's been a rough ride. But now it's a little bit different. We also have another puppy that I'm trying to stop from destroying our house. And it's been a little bit of work. Yeah, we found out that she's half Rottweiler, which we didn't know when we got her. It was just a rescue, and like, you know, all these other very intensive breeds like German Shepherd and Australian cattle dog. I forget what exactly it's called. And then what was the other one? Pit Bull. So she has a mix of like all these very different breeds that are very hard to work with. So I've been using that as like a little thing that I've been working with, and it's been good for me. And so that's why I've been kind of gone and disappeared. Like I wasn't on Twitter for a long time. I wasn't doing stuff with Twitch and stuff. But now I'm starting. I have 1 class this first half of the summer, and then the next half of the summer I have 3 classes, and so that will be the end of it. And I'll have my bachelor's, and I'll be back again. Yeah, thank you. So close. Nice. 2 months.
So close, and by then we will have another patch.
Yeah.
Yay!
Right around the time it's like it fit around you as best it can.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Basically, I come back, new patch, and luckily enough, like I was really concerned. I was like, man, because we did the World Race stuff. When was that? February, right? That's when that patch came out. It was a long. So I was like, okay, 6 months. We have another one coming out. So sometime in August. That's right when I'm finishing up with school, and then I have to kind of cram together and maybe do some World Race stuff again. But now I got like 2 months of cushion.
You don't have any months of cushion because I mean you have more cushion than you need because it's gonna be like the next race is gonna be another 4 months after when we even get our delayed patch. It's gonna be like November, December.
Yeah. Unless if they do some like surprise announcement where they're going to release an ultimate because they took longer and they're like, hey, we're going to do an ultimate.
We took longer is not code for we made an extra ultimate. That's not how that works in any way, shape, or form. No, we do. No, we do know. We know very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because we actually have had 1 live letter for 5.3 so far, so we know.
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I always hope for it, man. But, you know, it wouldn't be good for me because that would be like 2 weeks or a week of like dealing with that, and I don't have time for it. So I kind of do secretly hope it will take a while. I'm going to be honest. When the World Race ended, I was pretty much like, and they said there was going to be no ultimate for the next patch. I was like, yeah. It was just like a little secret, like, just like, break time, because every 3 months having to do a world race is like, it gets kind of exhausting. It does, but it's good. I couldn't have had a lull in content happen at any other time in my life than right now, where it actually fit and it was actually a good thing for me. So
Frosty's happy we had a patch delay, guys. You heard it. He's glad.
Yeah,
you heard it first.
I'm glad you guys all have to wait for content for Final Fantasy 14 because it makes my life a little bit better. So thank you guys for enriching my life and taking a hit there.
We're glad. And so that's one of the big things that I think Mogtalk is known for. It's specifically you, though, because this is actually less of a Mogtalk thing and more of a just directly Frosty thing. Is specifically the only one who seems to really care about the world race as in regards to organizing it and information.
Yeah. Well, to care to do it. Yeah, that's true. It's such a weird thing. Because I don't know why. I tried. Well, no, people do. I think people just accept that I'm there, and it's good enough that they just kind of go with it. I'm gonna let you guys know right now. If anyone wants to like take the lead and go super crazy database building and like build a website, because I tried building a website. I have an associate's in web development because I wanted to do a decent website, but it just is too much for me to really handle right now. So I will work with somebody if they want to go out there and build a website and build a good platform for the race and raid teams and everything else. But the thing is, it came up just one time randomly around Midas where I was like, man, it's so awesome to see all these people kind of go at it and go crazy, but no one really
knows anything.
They would say, oh, somebody killed it, that's awesome, they're world first, but no one really tracked it. And so I said, well, how hard is it to do a Google spreadsheet and just put a name on it and a time? And it's actually kind of hard when you're tracking lots of teams and they're giving you lots of information and you have to confirm all of it. But it's to put it together in that format, it's not too difficult. Just getting that information sometimes is a little bit frustrating, but I wanted to do it because it was something I was interested in, and apparently a whole lot of fucking people were interested in it, and I didn't realize that at the time that I was doing it. So I did that, and I just instantly became the world race guy who does the world race spreadsheet. And when the next bit of content came out, they're like, Frosty, are you going to do? Sure. Why not? I guess so. And that's literally the conversation every time a couple of months happens. Hey, are you going to get the spreadsheet? All right, let's do it. And that's how it kind of went.
Discord notification, and I'm in streamer mode, so that's.
Same. Yeah, I'm in streamer mode.
It shouldn't matter if you get it, but like I got one. That's just the weird thing. Well, sorry to hear to beep everyone.
I didn't hear it. If it makes you feel any better.
So in regards to the world race, like it's hard to kind of wrangle people together, get all the teams together who are going to be, going hard at World Prog.
Right.
How did you have to deal with, people who may have not, signed themselves up for the database or the spreadsheet, and
you don't.
You ever just take? Yeah, is there any group that like just you knew was not on the sheet, but you knew they were also competing?
Absolutely.
You knew they were going ham.
Entropy will not report some of their stuff sometimes, especially if they're not going to be at the top of the sheet. They will just say, "Screw it, we're not going to report it." And so, like, there's teams. There's a lot of Japanese teams out there that either don't know about it or don't care or want to be cool and not seem like they care. One of the two, something in there. It's always been one of those situations to where I go out there and offer people, say, hey, give me the information. Let me know you're racing and how I can get that information. So it's easier on me to track you, because people do want to be on the spreadsheet, even if they're not going to be first or second. They're like, I'd like to see where I stand in the list of people who want to know where they stand, right? It's not really, right. I'm never going to have 100% accuracy on who's, 20th or 30th or 40th. But usually the top 10, you can't really kill it without getting noticed. Unless if you kill it and you just don't say anything at all and it's super secretive. That's good. You didn't kill it first. For everyone else in the world, you succeeded in being secret. No one cares. Someone else killed it first, and that's just how it is. And so that's how I've always maintained it. It's just who wants to put themselves out there, put the information, and if I can find it, then I put it on there if it's legitimate.
Through what is it? Heaven on High. We know we have the technology for a leaderboard. We have the technology. We can rebuild it. We can do it. We can fucking do it. Would a tracker for, you know, world first or however long you want to go down the list make your life easier, or like would you still if that were the case and don't we all?
It would be amazing. Because then I wouldn't really have to track it.
Your job would be done.
You would still you would still cover it though, correct?
I'd probably still cover it. I mean, with the whole method thing that happened, you know, it's definitely inspired interest in people watching the world race for what could be watched for people who are streaming and everything else. It did show interest in it. Although that was one of the worst and most exhausting experiences of my streaming career. But it was there's a place for it. And I think people would like to see it covered in some way, even if Square Enix officially tracked it. But I think Square Enix is so hesitant on doing that because I feel like they don't want to make rating a pressure situation to where people feel like they're racing other people. They want to say, hey, raid it, you clear it when you can, and it's for everybody. The raid's for everybody. It's not just for racers or anything else. They like it being tracked, but they don't want to encourage it in a way because there's so many of these little things that can be kind of sketchy that goes in that world, and if they put their hands into it, they're putting their hands into something where they have to deal with all that stuff too.
Yeah, because here's the thing: it's one thing to build a pedestal; it's another thing to let everyone else decide how it's used. Because the big thing that we see with the reality of raiding versus Square Enix's stance on acceptable tools to use in raiding is a very, very conflicted area. Because we know they're against the majority of tools, so much so that after what happened with the Epic of Alexander, they had to make an entire change to our mark system. We got something good out of it, but in the process, they took away the primary function. We got something great out of it.
Are you honest? I guess it only applies to old. I haven't done Ultimate, any of the Ultimates at all. I know it affects that more than anything else, but when we're talking about the Waymark system, have you really been affected by it?
I never cared. I always just learned where mechanics generally were. I've always been the advocate for I don't like third-party tools doing fights for me. So much so to the fact that when I did Ultima Weapon, all 7 of my raid mates used the call out for the Titan jails. I didn't.
And that's the best way to handle it. It's your choice of how you enjoy the game. As long as you can still execute and do your part, and everybody's happy with what you're doing, then who cares whether you're using a program or not? Yeah. And that's always my stance on it. I hate it. Like, Deadly Boss Mods killed WoW for me, to be honest with you. It's one of the things that made me not like the game anymore. Yeah. And I relate the call-outs from ACT and everything to that. So I kind of hang back. DPS is nice to know, but do I need to know it?
That I very much support. I very much support knowing DPS.
Yeah. I do. See, the thing is, I always know because people upload my parses and I don't have to worry about it. No matter what, it's going to happen. I don't even have to have ACT on there. If I clear something, someone's going to upload it because they want their information up. And so sometimes stuff doesn't get uploaded, but I don't care because I'm not really competing on that level, at least with the game at the moment.
Yeah, but the big thing is if Square Enix built a system for it, there's no way there's not a conflicting view with them versus wanting to track who's first for everyone, but also what they may have used tool-wise, ACT callouts, and for Epic of Alexander, obviously the auto placement of the markers, which was such a weird thing to see. There were, in general, T brought out, I think, the worst of people wanting to mod the game to like help them with the thing, because that wasn't the only. There were videos going around of a tool that was showing where invisible AoE markers were.
Yeah. Yep, I saw that too. And I mean, that stuff does take a while to develop. I think the big thing, and this is one of the reasons why I like Savage races probably more almost sometimes than Ultimate races, is because it happens so quick. You don't have time for tools to be updated in a proper way to use them. But with Ultimate, you have a couple of weeks, and these things, people dedicate all their time to it because they're not able to get a raid group, but they want to help another raid group out. And so you'll see all these weird tools start to develop. And what can you really do? You can't really do anything about it because you're asking competitive people not to be competitive.
Yeah.
If you're telling them, I mean, there's a line, right? If you're using a tool that lets you hit 1 billion damage with one button, something's
okay, pass that my way. I'll take that one.
Yeah, but if you're doing something that just gives you information that you wouldn't have otherwise, it's such this gray mess to deal with, and I personally don't deal with it. I can't control it. But if they're actively doing something that is obviously cheating, of course you got to call that out. But if it's something that's just like this mess of gray, you have to live with it. And Square Enix is not going to touch it because it's not a mess of gray with them. It's as clear as it can be, as they have said it. Yoshida's come out himself and said, "Hey, we don't like this. We don't want this, and this is our stance." That's all. And what they actually really feel about it doesn't matter because that's just what they're saying and declaring their stances, and we have to accept that's what they're doing. So.
Has this discussion come up on Mogtalk? Because one of the big things with Mogtalk. One of the big things with Mogtalk is it's probably the most comprehensive. I'd say in regards to all the podcasts, because I've watched or listened to a lot of the ones out there, and of course we host one every week. But I think the thing that Mogtalk does that stands above all else when there is a show, when they have a topic to make a show on, is it's the most comprehensive in regards to data and information. Mostly bringing on the highest level of expert guests that you can find, whether it be the entire World First team. Or multiple people who have extensive experience in a specific role on that. Remember when I told you it would make sense while you were on the show earlier?
I guess it kind of does. Yeah, you're right. I'm the best. I guess.
There you go. And everything as I predicted. Perfect. There you go. Yeah. So these kind of topics have to get really heated on Mogtalk.
It's strange. If Arthas is on the show, it's
no, if he can wake up for it.
Yeah, I mean, there has been times where he's missed it. Yeah, he's been good. He told me how bad he felt. He got mad at his wife for not waking him up that one time he missed it or something. He was telling me this whole thing. But anyways, in regards to the question, it's strange. I've had all manners of shows where it's been awkward. I've never really had a show where it's been, fuck you, I hate you. There's one time I think that Bok Choy said to Arthas, "Hey, can I talk?" And that was like the most heated it's ever got, I think, on the show. And it's just such a calm situation, though. I think that when most people come on and they want to come on and not be a piece of shit, for the most part. I think that a lot of people, it's funny, I have so many mixed feelings because when I think about Mogtalk, I think of it as this rinky-dink thing that I do for fun. But it's not like that for everyone. Obviously, it's enough for you guys to want to invite me on the show and talk about it. But, the other day I was talking, someone sent me a message, it was in kind of a mixed broken English, about, "Hey, look, I'm starting up this podcast. I need some advice. I really admire what you're doing. Can you please help me with this and stuff?" And it just kind of came out of nowhere. And I was like, there's people who actually give a shit about what I'm doing and can say positive things about it and not just think it's absolutely horrible. And so I replied to him. I gave him all the information, everything else. And apparently he's just doing his own thing. It's like it's a Spanish version, not a Spanish version of Mogtalk, but the concept of a podcast and having screens on. It's like actually a Spanish version of it. And he's happy doing it. I think that's amazing because when you run a podcast, you have to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's absolutely not worth doing at all. There's no value to it. But yeah, no, going back, sorry. So every time I do a show, I have so many different people on there that have heated opinions, and the whole concept is that it's just me. This is what I've developed after a year or so at the beginning, is that it's me bringing on people who know what they're talking about and talking to them about the topics. And so you have as little ignorance as possible, which is just me, that one little window, that's the ignorant window, and everyone else knows what they're talking about. And I just try to keep the conversation going and make sure, and sometimes I don't even have to talk. I just walk away. If I wanted to, I could probably just walk away. But that was the whole point. That's what I wanted to create. And so it's interesting that you said heat it for some reason, because I was trying to think about that. I was like, passionate might be the better word. Because people
heated
come
is
on
the
and
New
they're
Jersey version of passionate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that no one is ever really like angry, or I guess they get heated in a way like, I fucking, why, Yoshida, why do you do this? And so like they're like mad about things in the game.
Every episode. What are you talking about?
Every episode Arthur's is on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jesus. I love that guy so much.
Me too.
It's so funny when he comes on and everybody's like, oh, I love Arthur, he's the best. I always get like a handful of comments just like, who is this guy? And then they start spilling out
YouTube will
like,
never understand.
Yeah.
They'll never understand. Because I know exactly where those comments are. They're on the YouTube channel. They're not on the
they're
Twitch
always
channel.
on YouTube. Yeah, there always are. But I mean, I don't know. It's mixed. Used to be, I guess when we were doing Mogtalk back in the day, I did have co-hosts. It took me a year to figure out what Mogtalk really was, to be honest with you.
Well, you used to have co-hosts.
Yeah, I used to have co-hosts. Because, I mean, honestly, I think I started Mogtalk like 5.5 years ago, which is about around State of the Realms link, right?
So Sly and I first met at the first NA Fan Fest, so leading into Heavensward, and we started the podcast that January, I want to say, the following January.
I think I started in February.
Yeah, so that would be 2015, January 2015, approximately.
But you guys have consistently put out episodes, so you're at like 250 something.
254,
right?
I believe this one
254? Yeah, I'm trying to hit 200. So
but that's nothing to be ashamed about. It's still almost 200 episodes in, like, doesn't matter if there's weeks. We have weeks that are missing still in those 254.
Yeah. I have 54 more weeks missing than you currently.
and that's okay. I mean, it like we've kind of come to terms with the fact that there are going to be weeks, and we tried to do this for the longest time. Weekly Final Fantasy 14 podcast.
That's why we put question marks on it at the beginning of the show now.
Yeah. Question mark? Yeah, not this fucking week. We ain't got shit to talk about. We can't pull a show out of our ass. So
that doesn't work as well for me because it'd just be me.
You'd be like, hey guys, so
just show up, guys.
Here we go.
Okay, show up. It's Frosty talking to you guys, and I've thought about doing that, just having a Frosty talk where I just sit there and talk for like I don't know.
It's literally Mogtalk.
A what?
It's literally Mogtalk.
Mogtalk, you're right. It's a Mogtalk. Yeah, only one talking. But no, I mean, I did have some weeks. And Balana, who's in chat, has been a helpful person. He's been a lot of my Friday requested guest, where I ask him on Friday. He comes on Saturday.
I wouldn't know anything about inviting people a day before. I wouldn't know anything about that. No way.
Yeah. I've done it. I've done it a lot, and Balana's been a pretty awesome about it. He's canceled his D&D sessions or delayed them multiple times for me, and he's awesome. I'll never forget.
That's how you know it's love, when you fucking delay a D&D session. Oof.
And he's the DM.
Boy, that's love.
Well, if he's the DM, he gets to call the shots. He's like, guys, we're waiting.
Yeah. And so there's been a lot of times where I've had to just say, all right, there is a topic I want to talk about, but I don't know who I can bring on, and I have to kind of bring people on. And it's weird talking about guests, I guess, because that's my show, is the guest. It's literally the guest and me being there just talking to the guest. And so it's a very important part of my show. And so I do have some people who are really good at talking. Like Larry, I bring him on, he could talk about pretty much anything. There's a handful of people that just I can say, hey, let's just come on and talk about this thing that happened at Live Letter that I think's worthwhile. Oh, Blue Mage has happened. I know some people who want to talk about Blue Mage, or it was in a live letter or something, and we want to talk about it. And so I'll bring people on to discuss it. And so it's strange. I also have shows where I do 2 months ahead of time. I'm like, I'm going to do this, but I hate doing that because then something else interesting will happen, and then I can't talk about that for another week.
We've had
and so
happen.
it's it sucks.
You get the news the day after a show.
Yeah.
Or the day,
the number of times we've gone into a Tuesday show like, shit, what are we doing?
We ain't got nothing to talk about.
Wednesday.
And then
here you go. Oh, interview drop. 6 interviews. And we're like,
so much content. But I think that's like the biggest thing with the weekly podcast stuff. You guys remember LBR, right? That shitty,
of course,
shitty podcast.
Jesus.
Those guys.
Damn, son.
Yeah, no. When we were, I was talking to them. They were doing every single month for quite a while. They were just doing monthly podcasts, and I was talking to Aniro, and he was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to weekly format, man." And before he did that, he asked me, he's like, "Yeah, you do it every week. How do you figure out how to talk about Final Fantasy 14 every single week?" And I just said, I don't know. I don't.
That's what I
kind of just. I just kind of make it happen. Sometimes I have ideas for shows, and sometimes I don't. When we talk about stuff, though, like you were saying, it does get kind of particular to certain topics, and we could be very niche. Like I had a show that was just based on talking to the guys from A Stage Reborn and discussing, that's a fairly niche community, I would say, overall for Final Fantasy 14.
I can't focus on this conversation anymore because you're saying niche.
Niche? Or niche? You would say niche? Niche? Sorry. Niche.
No, you can say it however you want, but
it's a highlight. It's a personality trait where I don't pronounce things properly, so I appreciate you.
No,
not
that's
stomping
called being a person. That's not a personality. That's just everyone. We've all got our words.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Niche. We'll do that. We brought them on to talk about it, and I was like, this is interesting. You kind of get into the heads of these people who are this is the one thing. I want people to care about what they're talking about. That's always important to me, is I bring people on that actually care about what we're going to talk about. And so these guys dedicate so much time to doing a play inside the game. They're passionate about that. That isn't just something that you're just like, it is a cool idea. They put a lot of work into it. And so going and exploring all these different concepts, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not going to have world racers probably watching that for the most part. I'm going to have the people who care about RP probably caring about that, or people who are drama nerds probably caring about that, not people who are hardcore raiders. And then I'll have a show about Paladin. And then people who play Paladin might want to come on and talk about it, but not everybody will want to come on and talk about it or watch it. And so that's kind of what Mogtalk is. It's just this thing that goes from topic to topic and tries to put a magnifying glass on it and entertain the audience that would care about it. And I think as long as there is a audience to care about the topic, I probably would want to do a show on it. And that's how I have passionate people who get heated and talk about various topics. Happy.
Heated is just the Jersey version of passion. It's like, why are you so heated?
It's not just Jersey. We say it down here too. Yeah,
but does it mean passionate, or does it mean pissed off?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like passionate to me, and I stuck with words. Yeah. I feel like passionate is more like, it has a lot of love and a lot of more like, there is aggression to it, but there's no like there's not as much hate.
There's love behind the aggression. Yeah, there's love behind the aggression.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
I feel like heated could also apply to people being embarrassed and reacting in an aggressive tone and getting heated over something that they're not really passionate about.
So in New Jersey, generally, if somebody's breathing, if they're exhaling loudly, we say that they're heated because it's like they're letting the steam out. They're like, that's the heat. They're heated.
Okay.
Because obviously you don't actually have steam coming out of your ears, so that's the closest thing we get. So when someone's passionate, they're like, you disagree with them, and they're just like, they gotta take that deep breath before they deal with the stupid in front of them.
Yeah. I'm sure Sly has to do that every Tuesday.
Every time he makes
only this Tuesday, actually, Frosty.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
See, I had something. I had to do this for a second. They're like, what do I say? All right.
Well, I say, how do I get that fucker?
How do I get him? All right. Yeah. I'll figure it out. I got it.
I forget that basis of your question was just people getting heated, and we went all over the place with it. But feel free to ask me any other questions.
Yeah, I guess ask me something else. That's whatever.
Yeah. No. All right. Go in more detail about it. Whatever you want.
That was a lot of detail as it is, Frosty. If you can go more detailed, I'm impressed.
I mean, I could talk about, passionate things as me making a podcast, and so how I came about being passionate and actually wanting to do it, and why I even started. Why did you guys make a podcast?
My girlfriend recommended it.
Oh, okay. Good business idea. That's what I think Mel would say. That's a good business.
Because it was mostly because we were done with what's it called, the other one I did with Burn, with Gary.
I don't remember.
Burn.
I think I remember it existing, but I don't remember.
Burn is my introduction to podcasting, Mr. Burn.
Yeah.
So that was XIV something.
Okay.
It was, I can't remember. It's like 6-7 years ago at this point. And I haven't had to do it since like mid 2014 or early 2014 or something. And I wanted to do it, and then we tried out a few co-hosts, and then Sly was the best one. He was our choice.
XIV Reborn.
Reborn. See, I thought that in my head, but I was like, that sounds like such a stupid name. I don't think it was that.
Damn.
That's literally the thought that went through my head.
That sounds like a stupid fucking name. That's a stupid fucking name for a show that was on like 7 years ago. Jesus.
I thought I was wrong. That's all it was. Great show, by the way.
Didn't last long, apparently.
No. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
When we lost Burn, I wasn't gonna keep doing the show.
Okay.
Once Burn was off, I was like, no, me too. Pretty much.
Well, for me, creating Mogtalk was more of just like, I don't know. I went to FanFest, that very first one, and I was like, I liked Final Fantasy, but I didn't really like Final Fantasy. But then I went to FanFest, and I really liked Final Fantasy.
Okay, before you go into this,
Sure.
Did you play 11?
No,
he didn't.
I did. Okay, so
no, I know this because I think you explained this last time you were on.
Yeah. I touched it a long time ago. It was so long ago. I played WoW, but then afterwards I had I know 11 came out before WoW and all that other stuff, but I played WoW first, and then eventually there was a spot where I was like, try another MMO, and so I was playing 11, and it was a little confusing, a little bit awkward to kind of mess with. It just wasn't as, I was used to WoW, I wasn't used to this, and so I went into the system, and then eventually I started moving around, and the first thing I noticed is that I couldn't jump. There's no way to jump in that game. And I was so used to jumping in WoW. It was it's like I was, somehow they broke my legs and I couldn't jump anymore. And it didn't make any sense to me. So something was taken away from me. And I decided I probably won't enjoy this game. And so I stopped playing it. That was literally it. It feels kind of sad that such a small thing steered me away from the game.
Yeah, and you like 14 PvP, so that's a real shame.
Yeah, I like shitty things, and so it's weird that I didn't like 11. No.
I was hoping it's where you'd go with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I play it still, and it's like all I do is talk about how fucking annoying everything in that game is.
Yeah, it was probably there's probably other stuff that would have turned me off from that game at some point while playing it, but I eventually just got into other games. I think I was playing BioShock 1 at the time. I was trying to remember all those stuff that I was playing back then. And then I went back to WoW, I think, at some point, and just forgot about it. And just never played it. And then 11, it really didn't become a thing again in my head until I played 14 for a while and people talked about it again. But why did we say anything about that with FanFest? You said you wanted to talk about that slide.
Well, he said he was trying to establish if you had a storied history with the Final Fantasy MMOs before.
Fantasy franchise.
Fantasy franchise, yes. MMO wise, no. So one of the very first games that I bought, I was semi coerced into buying by my older brother, was Final Fantasy. This was 3 in America, but 6. Final Fantasy 6. I bought that and I played it a little bit, but everyone else played it more to me, and I never really played it. I was a little kid when I bought it, and it. I don't know. I that established, hey, this is a really good RPG. Then my brother bought me a PlayStation, and I guess that was his payback later on, and I got Final Fantasy 7. And that got me kind of addicted to the Final Fantasy series, and I went through 8, and I went through 9 and 10, and didn't finish a single one of those games. I played them, But as a little kid playing RPGs, I just never had the attention span to finish these games. And I loved them all for some reason, even though I didn't finish them. And so they became a big part of my history. So things with Final Fantasy were important. I heard 11 just somehow just went past me. And then 12 came out, and I think it kind of went kind of weird after 12. I don't know what it was. It was just like, this isn't normal Final Fantasy, auto combat stuff. I'm too hardcore to have AI make decisions for me. And then it went away from it a little bit. Then 14 came back. But I actually didn't play 14 when it first was released. I didn't play till 2.0.
Okay, to be fair, though, that's the correct decision.
Okay. I made the right decision.
You made the correct decision. Meanwhile, I see people posting, oh, this is me 10 years ago, and my only picture from 10 years ago is me holding up my fucking collector's edition of 1.0. And I'm like, oh no. I hate it.
You know what? It's not a bad decision because you liked Final Fantasy and it made sense to want to play 11. It's just that you were disappointed. So you didn't make a bad decision. A bad decision was
Frosty
made, but it was.
I made the decision, and it was a bad one.
No, I mean you could have waited, I guess, and got the reviews, and then noted it was maybe not. Anyways. But that being said, I haven't before the FanFest. I didn't go to any convention at all. So this was like my cherry, I guess, popping of going to events and conventions. And so I went in there and this was so fucking weird. Why is everybody talking about stuff that I know about, this really dorky game that no one else around me talks about, but everyone around me is talking about raids and everything else. I got with some people on Reddit and hung out with them, did all the events and stuff. And I didn't know anybody back then, by the way. I didn't do streaming. I didn't do anything. I
didn't meet you at the first one.
Yeah, I didn't meet you either. I think I remember people running around screaming, and it was a big deal, but I can't remember anything really about personalities or knowing anyone. It was more of just being a gamer at a convention, and it was amazing. And it was so invigorating, and now we're going back to why I made a podcast, that I decided that I liked the game enough to go forward and make content. And so I was like, well, let me get on my channel I made back in the day for Hearthstone, because I wanted to stream Hearthstone. I thought that was really cool. And then I didn't anymore. I used that account again, and I didn't know what I wanted to stream. And I didn't want to just stream. I wanted to stream a little bit more than just gameplay for some reason. I wanted to make content. I was like, if I'm going to make content, what can I make? Well, I like talking to people. That's something that I've always enjoyed in my work and everything. Wherever I am, I like having conversations. And so I felt like I never really got long conversations or long-winded conversations about Final Fantasy 14. People would talk when they're raiding a little bit, but it was never really an in-depth conversation. And so I said, let's do a podcast. And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what a podcast was. I got a mic. I didn't even have a webcam up, I think. I was just talking to him, and I was in Bordona, and we were just sitting near the Aetherite, and I was just sitting there chatting up with one of my raid members. And I was like, all right, I just made Mogtalk.
Are you dressed as a Moogle?
Yeah, I dressed. I think, yeah, that was a big thing for me, is that Moogle outfit, when it came out, I was like, I'm never going to stop wearing it, at least the headpiece, and I have done pretty good. I've worn it for most of the last 5-6 years, so I'm pretty proud of myself with that. But coming up with the name, I was like, fuck, I don't know what to call this. What's Final Fantasy? Moogles. Okay, Mog. All right, that's Final Fantasy. What am I doing? I'm talking. Mogtalk. Just got the name of a podcast.
There you go.
And so we did that, and it took me, I think, it took me a year to really get my feet where I was like, this is what I want to do with the podcast. This is what I'm creating. This is how I want to present content to people and everything else. And it has kind of, I've changed and I have different ideas and I try different things with the podcast. But I really didn't know what I was doing at all. I just knew I was going to get a mic up and talk to people for however long I could. So we just talked about news, and there you go.
Sounds like you stole the Stay of the Realm playbook right there.
Did I?
Yeah, specifically well, I didn't know what I was doing, because that's that's most weeks.
Honestly, I will say that's something almost every person who creates a podcast will say. because it's true. I don't think most people who start a podcast don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say every podcast starts from the ground up.
Yeah.
Like people never go in like fully professional, like notes, yada yada. They might, but it's like we're figuring this shit out as we go. And luckily we've been doing it long enough to the point where, you know, we can kind of fucking freestyle and not have note shit.
The show
Question mark show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That pull shows out of our ass like the day of. Like, do we have anything? Did Reddit have anything? Fuck.
Let me scroll through Reddit.
Yes.
No, we've done that. Yeah.
We've done that so many times.
I do that usually before the show starts. I'll go through maybe as the week's going on.
We do it before the show starts too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just like the day before.
Oh, yeah. It depends topic wise how I usually do it. Sometimes I kind of just you see animals doing stuff in the background. I don't know what they're doing. But sometimes I go through Reddit, I go through Twitter, I see what's happening, what people care about, and then I'm like, well, let's make a show about it. Because obviously people are talking about it. They want to talk about it, so might as well have a podcast about it and bring on people who would be relevant enough to talk about it. Relevant enough, I guess. Who would care enough about it and maybe relevant to the discussion?
Who are passionate enough about
it. Yeah.
Or heated enough.
Yeah. And I go ahead.
No, finish before I do mine.
No, I was going to say, like, finding these guests can be difficult sometimes, especially when you're picking people up off the street. Sometimes is what it feels like. Jeez. I'm trying.
I was just laughing because I read what Absolute said. I didn't meet you. Yeah, I didn't meet you either. Because that's what you replied to me. It's like I didn't even hear that. I don't know how I missed that. It's one of those comments that, like, I don't even think about it when you say it, but when somebody says it back to me, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, when we were talking about FanFest.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't even meet you there. You're like, yeah, I didn't meet you either.
I didn't know you existed. I didn't know you guys existed. To be honest with you, I mean, I didn't do any real content stuff. I don't know if the animals are making too much noise.
No, they're dead silent.
No,
dead silent. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. I saw them hopping around. But I think was I talking about guest or topics? I was talking about one of them. I think I was talking about going into
topics.
Yes.
Yes, for topics. Okay, so I mean, it's like a hand-in-hand thing because the topics and the guest have to really fit. When I'm trying to create topics, if I'm creating it before it happens, I'm not pulling off Twitter or Reddit or anything. Then it's kind of hard. You're like, I want to talk about tanks. Okay, so who knows what about tanks? When I started Mogtalk, I knew this many people. I didn't know anyone really. I was like, I know what I want to talk about. I know what I want to create. How can I find people that would want to talk about this stuff? And so I found out who was actually known for being a tank, whether it was the world race or kind of the world. It wasn't really a world race as much then. It was more like who got world first or world second or known from different FCs or if they were really high DPS or they had guides out or something. I was like, let me find these people. And I would make characters on their servers and try to message their FC mates and see how I can get in touch with them. Because Discord wasn't really too big back then either.
No, not until Heaven's Word-ish did I think it started making, like, closer to Heaven's Word.
I think before Discord it was it Curse?
Curse did exist.
Yeah, Curse existed. Yeah, I certainly didn't use it.
I think it was
Curse. I didn't use it
before. Yeah.
I mean, my channel is still, affiliated with Curse even after all these years, but
yeah.
Yeah. No. Anyways, I went through all this work to find people, and I'd have people say, no, I don't want that. I am not comfortable with that, or whatever. And then I have people say, yeah, that sounds great. They don't know what the fuck I am or who I am or what they're doing. They're like, a podcast, I guess. And so eventually I started doing these little shows and pulling them together and having people on. And I had co-hosts, like we had Gilly and Adagio back in the day, and Shaman Arc, who was there for a little while too. But it was
I remember Adagio. I mean, it was probably because I just saw him, he was in Twitch chat like less than a week ago. But yeah, I feel so bad because Gilly did artwork for my channel. I commissioned him.
It's a long time ago, man. Yeah. It's all right. But yeah, no, these guys, I brought them on as hosts. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying different things. Do I have other people come on the show and kind of do it with me? And it kind of worked, but it never really fit well. I don't know why. I felt like maybe I just didn't know how to manage co-host, if that was a thing. I didn't know how to work with other people to make the podcast happen in a way that I was happy with. And so they eventually, if they couldn't make it to a show, I had to say, oh, well, I just got to figure out what to do. And I just said, you know what? Who can I always depend on, and who will not be upset with me if I fail? Me. If I fuck up and it's just me, who's going to be upset? It's just me. No one cares. And so I'm not letting anyone down. And then also, if I need
you value yourself so highly.
Yeah, no. And so it's one of those things where it became easier for me to do it by myself too. And so I started doing that, and I started bringing on and making sure the cast that was on were worth listening to. And so I didn't really know that when pulling on random players. I don't know if you guys know this about gamers, but some people like to talk and some people don't. And so when you don't know that before they get on the show, it can be a little painful. So there was a lot of growing pains with meeting people and finding, but that's my job, right? That's why I should be on the show. That's why I should be there, is because I can facilitate the conversation in a way that can make people talk. And I still have that happen every once in a while where I have people on, and it's hard to get things going and not feel so awkward and weird throughout the entire podcast. But that's what I do. And I do my best with it, and I enjoy doing it too. And so I got to meet a lot of these different people, and eventually I didn't have to make these characters on servers anymore. I could go to Discord channels and find them. And there's so many ways I can find people who are worth speaking on these different topics and everything else. But back in the day, it was rough trying to find people. But funny enough, it was so much easier if someone was well known, it's so much easier to get them on the show than just some random guy, off on the side that's just really good at Paladin. Because I remember, I think I asked Miztech, and again, this was like episode 12 of Mogtalk. I was doing it for just a couple of weeks. They're playing back there. Yeah, they're woofing now. But I asked Miztech, and she was just like, yeah, sure. And it was strange, right? You kind of, back then, and I think a lot of people might feel this too, is that you feel like there's people that you can talk to them and they just won't respond to you. But I think most people are human. Like if someone asked me to be on a podcast, I'd probably say yes. If I have the time and I'm able to do it.
There are some people who, are busy and it's really hard to get a schedule down with them.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
Mogtalk episode 12, 2.55 story revisited part 1. Is that uploaded it on 2 parts on YouTube?
YouTube was horrible. Like going Twitch to YouTube messed up with me so much.
Miz is not on that episode. That is
which one is it then? Is it 11?
That is you, Kerr, Gilly, and Adagio. And we apologize for the frame drops. Hopefully Twitch will find a resolution soon.
It wasn't Twitch's fault. It was Cox's. It was Cox's fault. I remember that. I don't remember which one she was on. She was on one of them, one of the earlier ones.
I'm going.
It was the same thing.
Your YouTube now. Well, wait, you put a video out a day ago? Relic Shield Tenacity Reflection?
I did. Because I saw that. I was like, oh, this is neat. And I just uploaded a 9-second video of looking at the reflection of the orb.
That's exactly what you did.
I wonder how many people I pissed off.
What is this? You got a feast guide in here a year ago?
Yeah.
Oh, man. PvP in slow motion.
That's a good video. Not enough people
Episode 10.
At that. Episode 10? It was okay, so it was earlier than I thought. And so, I mean, I kind of just started doing that. I started coming up with these different ideas where I was like, it would be interesting to know more about Miztech, right? And so Sly, I remember talking to you before, and you're one of the reasons why Miztech even streams, because you told her it would be a good idea. I think I remember you saying something like that, right? Yeah. Okay, I wasn't wrong. I just want to make sure. But yeah, no, it was, so I started interviewing people. I was like, it'd be cool to interview people. So it turned into this thing where I interviewed people, talked about different topics, and just went all over the goddamn board with the show. But
dude, I can tell Gilly is still like not 100% like all on being a show. Every thumbnail with him, he's not looking at the camera. Every single one with Gilly. He's just like
looking at the chat all the time. All right, yeah. Just
he's reading the chat. I can't tell because sometimes he's looking this way, sometimes he's looking that way. And I see you attempted to play through all of the Final Fantasies and got through one.
Oh my god, you're going through all my.
It says Final Fantasy. It says Final Fantasy 1 quest through all Final Fantasies 5 years ago, and there's no Final Fantasy 2 anywhere.
I started 2, but I hit a point where it's like, this game's shit.
Thank you. I say it all the time.
It was so bad. I do want to go back and play through more of them too, but I just not now. But when I hit a lull and I actually have time to do something in a lull, then I'll probably.
Your first episode is a pilot on.
Yep, I called it a pilot.
Yeah, and it is. There it is. It's just you. Then you did one.
No, it was me.
And then you did one on Chocobo Racing. That was episode 1. It says Chocobo Racing right there.
People don't realize that. I didn't remember that either. So there you go, guys. There was the Chocobo Racing episode.
That's the thumbnail. The thumbnail says Chocobo Racing.
Yeah.
For all the jokes that you make, that was literally your first episode. It's about the gold saucer.
I tell people I've talked about it. Yeah.
I've talked about it. Your second episode's about Chocobo Racing too.
I think we kept talking about it. I think we had more conversation.
That's 2 episodes. God damn it.
Gold Saucer was coming out, man. So Gold Saucer is coming out, and we were talking about all the different things with Gold Saucer.
Oh my god, I want to watch these.
Feel free. It's awkward and weird, man. I sucked. Dude, I still suck, but I was really bad back then, man.
Yeah, but look, you had Xeno on episode 16. No guest on 15. 14 is Opti. Doesn't say you have a guest, but I don't see anyone different on this list. Job changes in heavens. Oh, wait, yes, you did. You're Joe on. Okay, there you go.
Oh, Joe back in the day. Jesus Christ. So long ago.
Where am I? I think I'm like 30-something. There I am, 31.
Yeah. Eventually, Mr. Happy replied to me. No,
I can't. I don't actually remember that episode. Don't lie.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did ask you before. It's been a really long time. You know, it's funny. People, Polano was saying there hasn't been another Chocobo Racing episode because there's been no new content for it, and you're absolutely right. Chocobo Racing has not really had anything for it since it came out, and there's no plans for it. That was one of my questions. I asked that
we have
directly
to create
Yoshida.
that content.
Yeah,
we have to create that content. Yeah, we got to get back to Chocobo Racing.
The Chocobo Cup the community ran.
Well, dude, when you get your bachelor's, that's the next thing because there's no world race. You need to host the Chocobo Cup.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, there you go.
You know, that doesn't sound that interesting.
But then you can do a show about it, and that's it. You've got it again.
Mel asked me why I don't have a Yeti beard, and that's because I shave sometimes. And I also, Kerr has cut my hair, so it's actually not super long. Like, I mean, it is on the top a little bit, but, it's been pretty good. So, yeah, it's because I shave.
Combing my beard to get the knots out.
After a while, and this is having fun on this train while it's running off into a mountain or something, but, like, my mustache, the hair starts to like poke up into my nose, and I'm like, I have to shave it.
This is the worst part.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the worst part is, because then I go to take a bite of a sandwich, and like right here, these hairs.
It's the worst.
Go in, and I'm just like, get out! I don't know if I'm eating it.
Yeah. It's gross. I hate it. That's why I try to keep it trimmed down. But I'm impressed by yours. Happy. I'm glad you're keeping it up. I couldn't do it.
I'm not keeping anything up. I just can't. It's too much hair to get rid of. I gotta wait till I can go to a barber. Just have them.
It's not too much hair. You just have to get a trimmer.
I have a trimmer. You don't know how bad this actually is when you get all down here. This is where the disaster is right here. I've broken
I would
trimmers.
say it's
I've broken
up here.
trimmers.
I would say the disaster's up here, Happy, to be honest.
You don't want to see what's up here. Up here is this is really not. This will.
See, you have a hat.
This will cost me. This will cost me a $300, $400 buzzer to do because I will break anything else.
Do you just have my hair is very thin, so you just have very thick hair. You're like my polar opposite,
dude,
I suppose.
Look at this. Look at just.
Are you gonna take? Oh, that's. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
That's it.
The reveal.
It's out of control. Look at this shit. It just keeps getting longer and longer the more I press it down. I'm just turning into fucking Doc from fucking Back to the Future. Marty, we gotta do something about your kids, Marty.
By the way, I did go back to Netflix and watch the first Back to the Future. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And I watched the second one. I was like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever watched. It's so bad. I don't know why Back to the Future 2 was so bad.
I like all
it just didn't make any sense. It was just such like a horrible. All right. Anyways, guys, if you do podcasts, you turn into people like us discussing things that aren't relevant to anything. Anyways, where were we at with our conversation? I think we were talking about old shows that I was doing, right?
Yeah, because I was looking through your old shows, and you were talking about making characters, and you didn't have to do that anymore because we had Discord.
Yeah, we got Discord. I didn't have to make characters anymore, and I got to know people, and then the world race happened, and things just started to come together where I was able to communicate with people I knew could talk. And I still want to bring people onto the show that no one knows kind of out of nowhere, but are worth talking. But it's so, like, when you look at that and you see the risk to doing that, and then you see this other person who's very knowledgeable about the subject, but talks well, it's hard. It feels bad, but it's really hard to give that opportunity still, because I'm risking bringing someone onto the show that may make it a horrible show. But then again, do I really care because I don't make any money off the show? It doesn't really matter. So it's just weird.
That's where the self-depreciating joke is, where you go, but you know what? I'm on the show every week, so I guess how much worse could it be? It's
true.
Yeah, that's where the self-depreciating.
How much worse could it really be?
Yeah.
You just got me who comes on and doesn't play Final Fantasy for 3 months and tries to talk about Final Fantasy.
No. You quit, remember?
Yeah.
I quit.
You quit.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I've been playing. I'm making my way through the raids finally.
Yeah, you told us this before the show even started. You didn't even get to do the raid. You did the world race thing with Method, and then that was it. You were like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm not going anywhere anymore.
Yeah, I was at a point to where I just really couldn't. I didn't have time. I mean, the world race was 2 days of me basically punching myself in the face. There's so many logistical things that went wrong with that. That I if we do it again, it's going to have to be a lot different. If you heard me during any of the event, you could hear that I was just dead inside. One of the reasons being that at the very beginning, I figured out that I had to update my website while doing the commentary and reprogram things that were broken so they would work on stream. And I was really upset. And I think I just hit a point to where I was overloaded. I slept for a couple hours during that whole event. And afterwards, I did a couple of Mogtalks. I was like, I need time. And so I just kind of stopped. And I didn't do any of the raids. I did a couple things beforehand, but I really didn't dive into the raids. And so I'm just now getting back, since I have a little bit of time, to go and do the raids now. I cleared E5S the other day.
Pretty much the whole tier other than the 8.
Yeah.
Is it?
Pretty much.
I did E6S, and in the first attempt made it to the conflag phase. And so it was just a random party finder, and I was like, this is first phase, and apparently we made it over to it. It wasn't too bad because I watched the video beforehand. I haven't yet cleared that, but I'm really close to it. I think I had 4% or something with it. And everyone's more geared now, so it's not like it's as difficult.
Mm.
Kind of fly through it even if you suck. And so I'm hoping that I can suck my way through the rest of it.
Phrasing. God damn. Fuck, Frosty.
It was just there. It was there.
Wow.
That's a sentence.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a sentence.
Yeah. So, anyways.
That's one way to pay for a fucking clear.
Yeah, it's one way to do it.
Suck my way through the rest of these real quick. Don't mind me.
Yeah.
I think that I will. I'll do that. And then I'll have plenty of time to do whatever happens in 5.3 because that's going to be a little bit out. So,
yeah, it sure will be. No denying that.
Mm-hmm.
That sentence is not gonna. I'm not gonna forget that.
I'm glad I can make things memorable for you with saying. I'm good.
Thanks.
Anyways,
Thanks.
that being said, I think there's a couple of what other things was I think. So before I came on the show, I was like, what would they ask me? What do I need to actually remember to talk about?
You've done a really good job of predicting the shit that we were going to talk about. Like,
yeah,
like
it's almost like he does a podcast, Sly. It's weird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I was like, you'd probably talk to me about guests. You'd probably talk to me about topics. You'd probably talk to me about how it started. What was the other one? I think I had a little list over here somewhere. If I can find that list, maybe I can.
You could have just sent us the list, to be honest.
This is just like Rubicon. Rubicon, like, really last week, like, or the week before, led the conversation himself. Like, I feel like being a podcaster on another podcast is like one of the easiest fucking shows because you just do nothing. Like, we had to do hardly anything this fucking show. This is your show.
Well, it's fine. I'll upload it after we're done, guys.
Thank you. Well, fuck.
No.
Damn.
It's funny you guys say that. Like, I like lore, right? And so I enjoy lore. I don't
How are those first few relic cutscenes that you mentioned, by the way?
I don't know what happened. I did see what the rest of it was.
You would be the perfect partner for A or Zivia. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, if you want it to not do well.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can join happy then.
So
hey, we've been pretty even on the last few. It always comes down to one question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot about. I know the story. I know the concept. I know the ideas. I like the story and everything else. But in order for the shows to actually happen and people want to listen to those shows, I get people like Ethis on, and Ethis comes on, and when he does it, he kind of runs the show. It's like I'm sitting there and he's talking to. I think I have like 3 lore people that I lean on a lot. It's Ethis, it's Anonymous, and which are both Anonymous is with Fusion, and Ethis is with you guys a lot. But then I have Mr. Klimps, who's my new guy. He's my ace in the hole, who's does a lot of stuff with Nier, but he does actually love Final Fantasy 14 and knows a lot about the lore too. So I have my 3 guys that I lean on, and they love talking about it so much that I just bring them on, and I can say go, and they go. And that's such a man. By the way, I'm going to say this. I'm going to pump at this up a lot because I love that guy. Because he was in the World Race shoutcasting. I brought him on because I wanted him to bring some lore perspective. Like, oh, we're seeing this in this fight. This makes sense because so and so in this background and everything else. We can kind of predict the mechanics because with T, you had the cat, which was part of the lore, which you would have known if you were really good at lore. So I thought it'd be cool to have him on to talk about it. And so when he came on and did it, he did such a great job at leading the conversation with the other raiders and everything that I don't know why he doesn't do his own podcast. I don't know why he doesn't do other stuff where he's leading conversations because he's a mastermind at it at this point. But that's my boast. Sorry, I wanted to boast that guy.
Well, thank you for pumping Ethos up after you sucked your way through the earlier part of the show.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Do you really want this? I don't think you want. This is what I do. I don't think.
And it already happens.
There you go.
Know what? It already happens. Like when I first started streaming, the other guy.
All of this is going in a bad direction.
When I first started streaming, a lot of the comments that I got was like something like, "Oh, I just want to put my balls in your mouth" or something. I don't know what it was. It was horrible. Sorry do you guys have a mature rating on your stream, right?
We drop F-bombs all the time. Fuck it. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm just saying. There's a lot of stuff that I've when I was streaming that I've said. There's a lot of weird, kind of awkward things, and it gets a little bit weird sometimes. And Kerr doesn't care for it too much, to be honest with you.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but it's kind of part of streaming. I don't know. I just got used to it. I mean, Twitch is weird, man. I don't know if you guys know this, but Twitch is kind of weird.
Are you blaming Twitch for this?
Yeah, I am.
I'm blaming. You're forgetting the YouTube side of this.
YouTube's kind of worse. I'm gonna be honest with you. YouTube is like
Kinda.
it's hell.
You just
It's
told
like-
us that one of the first things you ever said on a live stream was, "I want to put my balls in your mouth," and this
that's not what I said. Sorry, that's what someone said to me.
Oh, okay.
A chat. This is what chat said to me, and these were
All
these
right.
weird things that people were saying to me, and so I've kind of gotten used to these things, and so.
'Cause I was gonna say, I can only imagine how Kerr would feel about that from the other room, just hearing you just dead silent, like,
She's probably like, "Fuck this guy."
"Come on, I'm gonna put my balls in your mouth," just out of context.
Yeah.
That's it.
She remembers it though. She remembers that situation. I think so. But anyways, I don't know how we got here. I really don't.
How did we ever get anywhere on the show?
I was going through the list of things of topics for the show that I thought you guys were going to ask me.
And you said you brought this on because he was
getting
a lore
yourself
expert.
back on the tracks. You are like the best.
Here's
getting yourself
the
back on
funny
track.
thing. He was the one who read Mel's comment earlier about the beard, and he's also the one who stopped the conversation. He started it and he stopped it.
I can't tell you how
He's
often
getting
that
it back
happens.
on track. Yeah.
I'm trying my best, you know.
You're like the train driver who's just like, let me fuck with them and go off the rails for a little bit. Nah, just kidding. Let me get
Or
back.
like the guy who
we're back on
flies
the
the
rails.
airplane.
We're good.
Okay, I fly an airplane and do a barrel roll every once in a while. I'm like, hey.
Yeah,
what's up,
just to
guys?
see how the people it's like that one scene in Soul Plane where he has the mic on and they don't know, and he's just like, watch this. He does the spin. Everyone's like, what the fuck? You're Snoop Dogg in this case.
That's a compliment. So thank you very much. But that being said, train back on the rails. Topics for this. I think we covered most of the things that I was thinking you guys would want to talk about, which was the guests and everything else and topics and how it started. And me being on hiatus. I guess the ideas of how to be a successful podcast was another thing. Because I don't consider, you know what? I actually do consider Mogtalk.
I was gonna say, come on, you've been beating yourself up enough. You can't tell me you're not like.
And I think to tell you why I think that is because my goal was to have a platform where I could talk to people and have conversations and enjoy myself. And I have a lot of people who I can have a good conversation with if I wanted to on Saturdays and talk about lots of different things with Final Fantasy XIV. And I think I did what I originally set out to do. Although my new ambitious goal that will happen someday, I'm sure in the future, is to go on stage at FanFest and do a Mogtalk with Yoshida there on stage. So that's my new one. I don't know if I'll hit that. I think the stars are a little far on that one, but maybe I'll get the
Well, they're farther now because you're going to wait at least another 2 years, most likely.
Yeah, at least. But that being said, I can successfully say that I did do shoutcasting on stage at FanFest, and I can't really be too upset. And going to Paris to do the shoutcasting over there, so I feel pretty good about it. There's still a lot more that I want to do with Mogtalk and overall Frosty with Final Fantasy XIV, I guess. But
it's funny you mentioned the shoutcasting. +1 and I both followed each other on Twitter the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird how that just came up. I saw him and I was like, oh, right.
He has a great shoutcasting voice. He did a really good job with it, and we did a lot of practice. We practiced for months to make sure we could do a halfway decent job at doing shoutcasting for people who don't know anything about the content they're being shown.
The only reason I watched the Feast Regionals is because you two were shoutcasting.
Thank you. And he also does a lot of music stuff in the background, which I probably need to hit him up. Maybe I can get him to do some music stuff for Mogtalk. I don't know. That being said, with doing that, going to media events and talking to Yoshida directly, having these conversations, I feel like Mogtalk kind of did what I would consider as a successful podcast. And the question where that kind of came from is how to be successful. I would say, these me making up my own questions, guys.
You never gave us the chance. You just kept going.
Okay.
You were answering our questions before we even get to ask them.
Okay.
I was going to ask about the future of fucking Mogtalk.
Okay. Well, you'll ask. All right. So happy. What you'll say right now is.
Wow, is he really producing our fucking podcast? Oh my god!
Well, producers don't normally get on the show and be like, "Well, your line is this."
Yeah.
Okay. To answer your question, Happy, Success is whatever you set it to.
I never asked this. You said you thought we would ask this. What are you giving me credit for?
I'm Alexander. They're right in chat here. I'm predicting the future.
I thought you meant great, and I'm like, no, you're not.
I guess, you know what?
Fusion, perfect fucking title, by the way. I'm sorry.
Frosty interviews himself. Frosty made the title for this show, by the way.
I didn't intentionally make it. I joked about it, and it was put up there because we wanted to make fun of Frosty. But that being said, I know what my answers to this question is. I would like to know what you guys think success is and how to be successful as a podcast, so I can see if they relate to what I'm thinking. So before I say what I'm saying, I'm going to ask you guys what you guys think about being successful with a podcast.
I feel like the bar is a little bit different for everyone who produces a podcast. Like, the bar for success can sometimes be low. It's like, at least, producing a podcast, like actually getting guests, actually being a source of content or information or entertainment for someone. It's different levels. Like, I guess for me with State of the Realm, I just wanted it to be good.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
So hold on, guys. I'm going to turn my camera real quick.
Yeah, I know. I saw. Oh, they ran.
I had my wife and all three animals sitting over there. Hanging out, just looking. And so I wanted to embarrass her real quick, and I think I did a really good job. Anyways, continue. Back, so. Some of them are.
Yeah.
The bar is really low, you said. Or was that what you were saying? Was the bar is whatever you set it to, actually?
No, yeah, the bar is pretty much whatever you set it to. Like, okay. I just wanted the show to be good. And
I said I'm sorry to disappoint you, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That I guess
you guys, I'm going to tell you this right now, and State of the Realm is like, if I think of podcasts with Final Fantasy 14, I think of State of the Realm. I think you guys are the consistent show that comes up every week, or mostly every single week. You guys have human, you way more consistent than the rest of the podcasts, I would have to say, that are out there, including myself and everyone else. Fusion would have, well, I don't know, Fusion maybe they're more consistent. I don't know. I feel like you guys
Fusion, we had you on the show. Would you say you've been more consistent? I'd say you've done it longer. Yeah. I remember a long period of time in which there was no Aetheryte radio. But since last year, very consistent.
Yeah. And so you guys are a consistent place people can come to and hear people talk about Final Fantasy 14. And I think everyone loves seeing you, and they can all say, hey, these guys are good people that I would enjoy hearing them just banter about not having anything to talk about. And so I'm really happy you guys do State of the Realm, and I'm so glad that you guys keep it going, because the community definitely needs you.
See, I knew when I picked the co-host that Sly was going to be. I knew he was going to be the one. I knew it.
Yeah, you picked the right one.
I knew it. Sure. I knew he was going to be the one. As the energy was there from the other two, but I knew I'd have to find a new co-host eventually if I picked one of the other two. I could feel it. I could feel it.
Okay.
So I was like, let me get the guy with the chill energy, he's just trying to have a good time. It's not, that's it. Just trying to have a good time, Sly.
I mean, that's what life is about, right? Just trying to have a good time.
Just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
Anyways, Happy, I guess you might want to put your 2 cents in being successful and how you...
Podcasts are literally not... Until a podcast is... People call it successful, there is no bar. You just... You do a podcast because you want to do a podcast. That is the bar. Doing it is the bar. Yeah. It could be terrible, but you did it, and you're happy with it. And if you're not happy with it, then I guess that's not success.
Stop doing it.
Yeah, and then if you're not happy with it, don't do it. You know it didn't work, try to make it better.
The minute it's not fun anymore for you, the minute, podcasts are work. Yes.
Not this one.
But
that's what you put into
Sly, let's be honest. we've done more work trying to get the podcast month together than any show in the last I don't know how long.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But at its core, at each individual podcast core, it's work. But at the same time, it's work that you love. When you stop loving it, don't fucking do it anymore.
Yeah, Sly and I have had to have talks where we kind of contemplate to each other. We're like, are we enjoying this? And the answer's been yes every time, so we're still here.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what it should be. I mean, no matter what the thing is, if it's Final Fantasy 14, if it's doing a certain thing in your life, I put more value into being happy than I put into literally anything else, because there's so much in the world that you can do, and you could be upset, and you can say, oh, I have all this money and all this other shit, and I got all these other things, but I feel upset and not happy, not Mr. Happy, and then you die, right? Then what the fuck? What the fuck did you do all that for? No, you're not going to have anything else. It's done. And so if you're not trying to be happy for as much as you can, I mean, you do have to make some sacrifices. You do need to do things that will eventually make you happy. But your idea should always be, how can I net the most happiness out of my life?
Now, Sly, I won't do it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But I mean, this is true.
I was looking at you, Happy.
I know you were.
You had that fucking shitty grin.
I know. It's a serious thing that I do believe in everything else, even though you do have your name as Mr. Happy and you can do all that stuff. I do believe that is something that everyone should focus on. And so if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're forcing yourself to do anything like a podcast and you're not enjoying it, then don't do it. But if you are enjoying it, then fucking do it. And then like, oh, what can I do to make this better? Oh, I want to change the layout a little bit. Then okay, do it. Maybe that will be more successful to you. What are your goals? What are you aiming to do with it? And I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you and straight up, don't do it for money, because you're fucked. You may eventually make money. Yeah, you could be the next Joe Rogan, but no, it's not really. Podcasts don't go that way. And you can see all the jokes out there about people who make podcasts. They just throw something together and they put it out there, and it doesn't matter. You want to, if you're doing something, do it because you want to talk to people and you enjoy the conversations that you're having. I think that's really it. And that's how I've tried to be successful with Mogtalk, is trying to put together conversations. And I do aim, I might not be fully invested in every single conversation. Like, oh, I love craft. I don't really care too much about crafting, but I know people love it. Crafting in general, and I love bringing on people who are passionate and want to talk about it, and people want to watch that and hear them talk about it. So that means a lot to me, and that's why I would do that show. So anyways, that's my
see, I don't feel the same way, because obviously I don't do PvP shows.
Yeah, that's fine. I do crafting shows. I do the stuff that I don't enjoy.
I do the stuff.
But yeah, no, PvP, man. I guess you guys can talk to me about shoutcasting too if you want to. Beast.
Still producing the show. This is awesome.
So it's funny. I was actually
show we've ever had to do.
If I wasn't doing actual raiding, I was gonna do something with the method stream, but I actually didn't even see them ask me until like 3 days before the race started.
It did. I think someone. Yeah, it was such a weird situation. At least with that part. Like, so when we're going to PvE shoutcasting and we're talking about the world race and everything, that was just. I'm going to be honest, and Method was sloppy with it. They just were, and I feel bad. I appreciate them coming out and trying to put some eyes on the situation, and everything else, but the
lack of game knowledge showed. I'd presume
the lack of game. Yeah,
I obviously couldn't watch because I was busy getting my own ass kicked.
One of the questions was, who creates Final Fantasy 14? And so it was rough. It was rough. So
wait, like Square Enix being the answer?
Yes. They're very invested into WoW. Yeah, and so it gave me kind of a couple of red flags. It made me know that I would have a lot of creative control in the way that it was going to go down, because they didn't really have.
At least you did.
Yeah,
at least you did. Yeah.
But I mean, the reason it happened is because there was an individual out there who wanted it to happen. They wanted to bring Method into the world race scene, and he played a lot of it. Final Fantasy 14, and he was part of the race and everything else. And so he contacted them, and so no one knew who this guy was, though. No one really knew him that well. And so when he contacted people, everyone was like, "Who the fuck is this? Do I even reply to him? Is this real?" And we all had to kind of talk in the background before we actually went through and replied to him. And then we found out it was actually legitimate and went forward with it. And so I think they asked you, but you were raiding, and so it didn't even make any sense.
I would have done it, but there's no way I could.
Yeah. I'm glad we went through it, and I think the people who are on, again, seeing like Athos do such a great job, and all the raiders. I mean, Layla did a fucking amazing job. Cleese did an amazing job. Celerity did a really great job. Fold was amazing. I didn't expect it as much.
Fold's great when he wants to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he was going to mean. He didn't mean that much.
He really doesn't want to be a lot. He wants to be something, but great's not one of them.
Yeah. And Jess came on. She did a great job. She did a lot. She's done commentary for Square Enix before at the Gamescom events often, and so she did awesome, of course. And so I'm glad we did it because we know what it looks like and we know how we can go about it next time if we do it for the next tier, which we hope. It would be nice. I think it needs to be restructured completely, and I need to be in a completely different seat than I was before. I might not even talk. I might just be in the background the entire time because I basically managed that event outside of the streaming itself.
So you want to be more on the back end production side rather than at the forefront?
I think so. Though I love being at the forefront, I love the commentary. I like to be a part of that, but we'd also need someone who is at the backbone, making everything happen.
Right.
And so I have to make that sacrifice if we want to do it again. And also tracking. I'm the only person in the world that tracks Final Fantasy 14 rating. So I don't know if I could find another person who could do it very well. I've had people like me help with it, but
don't do it, Sly.
It's death. It's death. It's just death.
Listen, if I'm ever lacking a raid group, I will be there. Because I always find raid groups like a week or two before the tier, and I know it's not gonna last, but I find it, and then it either goes well or it doesn't.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. I mean, we also don't know. Maybe if Method wants to do it again, maybe we'll do a grassroots and try to see how that goes, and it'll be kind of a little bit messy, but maybe better overall. I don't know. And so it's so far off. Anyways, yeah, I was saying Mel's trying to keep up the conversation about lewdness in the background.
The back end.
Yeah. I was actually going to talk about the feast shoutcasting, though. That was done. Yeah,
so was I, but you derailed your own interview with yourself.
Fuck.
That takes fucking talent. I'm sorry. Yeah. That takes fucking talent.
Yeah. That was awesome. I love doing that. It was stressful. Thank you for the question, Happy, by the way.
You're welcome.
It was stressful, being on stage, and I think it was the first time I did anything with people actually there. It's a weird feeling being on stage and not seeing anyone, and you're like, well, what the fuck do I do? And then every once in a while you have to say, what do you guys think? And everybody's like, ah, and you're like, why are they excited? I
gotta love when the shoutcaster is like, why?
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool. But there's a lot of people out there supporting what I was doing. So, I mean, you guys at the NA Fan Fest and everything, and that meant a lot. And so
I had a shit seat too. They had like a fucking camera arm in my way.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I remember because Aime was sitting next to me, and I'm like, I think they know there's a big camera arm in the way. She's like, yeah, that's really not good.
That's actually one of the things that I'm sad about with this most recent FanFest too, is I'm not going to see Aime again. She's awesome.
Yeah, she is.
I saw her a couple times in Paris. I luckily they gave me a staff badge for that one, so I was kind of walking around before everything, and I was talking to him and stuff. And she is one of the coolest people. Like, she plays Final Fantasy 14, but she's not as invested as the normal player, I guess. But she has enough to be coherent and talk about it. She asked to kind of be coherent and talk about it. But she's like one of the kindest people that works behind the scenes that doesn't really get a lot of attention that I think should. But I always see her.
I always give her pre-COVID high fives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now the gloves, that's the other thing that could be in the gift bag for next FanFest.
And they have to be those anime gloves that you can pull over the end like this. Oh. And then it makes the snapping sound. It's got to be, that's got to be like that. They have to be built exactly for that. It has the little leather stretching noise and the snap at the same time.
Oh, yeah. That would be good.
There you go.
Square, we're giving you all the ideas you need for your gift bags. I hope that you're taking all this in. But yeah, no, I think that going through all these different events is weird to think about it because I never thought that I would be doing any of it when I started the podcast so long ago. But honestly, starting the podcast led to all these different things, and I don't think I'd be involved with Final Fantasy 14 and getting to know the community team and everyone else as much as I have recently. Being able to talk to Yoshida behind the scenes and stuff was kind of neat. It's kind of cool seeing. I did see a lot of backstage stuff that was actually kind of cool to see, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't feel like it's right to talk about. That being said, I think Sly had another question, right?
Do you?
You did.
Did I?
The future.
Yeah.
You answered that before he got.
Yeah, you answered that. Yeah.
Did I say what the future was? I guess
I say it again.
Okay, so
what the future holds for Mogtalk. Yeah.
Yeah, and so basically, Mogtalk I plan to bring back maybe sometime in September. I'm thinking that's going to be the best time to do it because I'll be done with my bachelor's degree and everything else. And from there, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go. I'm going to have more time. It's been 2 years of just killing myself and all this other stuff outside of Final Fantasy 14 with school and work and everything. So I'm going to feel like I have way too much time on my hands. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do more than just a podcast. So we'll see, though. I do want to bring Mogtalk back. I think it's going to be a great time to do it because a lot of content will start rolling out again. And a lot of topics will be happening. And I'm going to hopefully do a crazy episode 200, which you guys, I hope, will come on.
I remember, was it episode 100 where you did like 12 hours, a different guest every hour?
50 and 100 I did that.
Okay.
50 and 100. 50 was a very emotional one for me because that was like a year of successfully doing something like a creative project that I've never done a creative project for that long in my life. And so I did that. It was episode 50 and I didn't do 2 episodes, so it was 1 year. I even have this little paper mache thing that my friend made me that was like a 1 year little Mogtalk statue that I just keep with me. And I did back-to-back 1 hour segments. Maybe I'm thinking I'll be doing that again for 200, where we just kind of go in. Here's this episode about this real quick. 10 minutes, I breathe, set up for the next show. 1 hour again of another topic, and just kind of hit them segment by segment. I thought that was really
what we
fun.
did for show 200.
What's that?
Nothing. We said, wait, what episode number is this? Is this 200? Hey, happy 200, guys.
200. Yeah, happy 200. Yeah, I ain't got no cake or nothing, but god damn it, yeah, it's 200. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do. It depends on where I am after everything calms down. But then it'll be finally done. I mean, I'm going to be looking for another job probably. Don't tell my current employer that.
Or you better hope they don't play Final Fantasy 14 then.
Yeah, I hope they don't play Final Fantasy 14.
Exactly.
But no, I think that unless if they have something better to offer for me after I get my degree and everything, and then I'll be just moving forward with whatever career stuff in the background. Because that's kind of what I like, having that stuff going on and doing streaming. That's just that fun thing on the side that I do, which is weird that fun little hobby that I do it on the side turned into what it did. But it's, again, going back to that one guy that talked to me. Every once in a while, I'll get that one little message where it's just like, hey, you're the guy from Mogtalk. I'm like, I forgot people watch that show. And then I have that pleasant reminder that there's actually people who enjoyed something that I did, and it makes me feel pretty good. And then I'm inspired to do it again.
If we didn't like it, we wouldn't invite you on the show.
Oh, that's sweet of you, dude.
It's also kind of harsh because it's kind of fucked up. We just didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, I mean, I don't know why you brought anyone ever on from LBR if that was the case, and so it's like
he's jabbing. He's jabbing, guys.
These guys are LBR is not existed anymore, and I'm just taking free punches at them.
Pretty much. God. We just need to bring Nate back one day. Like, even though he doesn't do LBR anymore, we just need to bring him back.
Just need angry and Nero.
Yeah.
Well, it was like professional podcast people now doing something for some professional network or something. Whatever. Who cares?
Just reminds me, I asked Nate a bunch of questions. I actually have that video recording somewhere because I video recorded it and I never put the video out because everyone was drinking. So I was like, I'm not gonna put this out. And at one point he's very serious, and then I'm like, show me how you turn a Nero. Like, how do you flip the switch? And then he went full of Nero, and I'm like, perfect.
Perfect.
He is, yeah, I talked to him. He's pretty, he loves making things technically correct. I mean, this is an LBR show. Fuck them. Anyways. I actually didn't know that, Fusion. I haven't really kept up with it too much, but I don't know. It's so funny because they're such a part of like podcast history for us. I don't think I'll ever forget them.
Yeah, we can tell.
Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, they were around for so long.
Whether or not you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I've had them on the show plenty of times, and those guys are pretty cool.
Have.
But it's fun to throw jabs at them because they're always. I always called them the Howard Stern, or the thing that would make them happy. Yeah. Is I had to say they're Howard Stern because he loved that. And I was the NPR show.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the comparison.
Good times.
But that's all the topics I can think of that you guys would ask and that I prepared for. I don't know if you guys had other topics.
You never gave us a chance to ask you anything. You just went from your own question.
Put it like this: you've done this entire show. You've filled the usual time slot of the entire show.
I'm not used to being a guest on a show, so sometimes I do just run into these situations where I'm like, it just starts becoming a natural thing.
This is a sign that you just need to, like, man,
I don't know.
If you're about to say we need to try harder, we don't.
No, you don't.
No.
You guys have a wonderful show. I'm happy with what you guys put out.
What we don't need to do is interview ourselves.
No, we will not. Never.
We need to have a topic, and
you know what?
Make sure the guest is aware of that topic.
I could flip this and I could start interviewing you guys.
Why?
People would be interested to know more about you guys, right?
That's why we did. I think it was about 2 years ago. We did 2 years ago. We did Host of the Realm.
Yeah.
Things have changed in 2 years. And so, you know what? Episode 200 is going to happen in September. We'll just do that interview then.
I like it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I can accept that. Mostly because we can't do it now because the show is already at time slot.
Oh, is it at time slot? I haven't.
I mean, there's no one's overseeing it but us. But
Yeah. No, 2 hours is the right. Like doing the time. By the way, I used to just let it do whatever, and I'd have 6 hour shows.
I know.
And then I was like, let me try to squish it into 2 hours, because then I have more content for other shows, and I have a more digestible piece of content for people to absorb throughout the week. And so,
yeah.
Felt that.
So if you guys are making a 6 hour show and you post it 1 hour a day is what you do, and you've got 6 days, and then the 7th day you record the next episode.
I was thinking about doing that, man. I was thinking about doing a podcast.
I would go fucking nuts if I ever even if that ever even entered my brain. I think I would just put my head through a fucking wall.
I don't know. It feels like it's good. An hour long. If you could get one show in a week, you do 6 hours, and you could somehow divide it up into 6 different shows and release that into 6 different videos. That is probably the most beneficial way to do that for YouTube. Right?
Yeah, and hate yourself within 2 weeks.
You just have to make clear cuts, right? Just clear cuts.
It's not about the cuts. It's about doing it 6 hours.
Yeah, it's about doing it for fucking 6 hours.
I don't know. I still have a few more hours in me. I can keep. No, it's
professional right here. Fucking professional.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm from New Jersey. We are supposed to be professional loudmouths, but you, Frosty.
I did 8 hours of that world race where I sat on and talked about them killing Shiva for 8 hours. I could do.
Oh, they're at light rampant again. Oh, they didn't make it. Oh, they're at light rampant again. Oh, they didn't make it.
I didn't make it.
It was me and Cleese. Cleese and I held so much of that conversation near the end, and it was. He did a good job. He did a really good job. And so you have to kind of go back. You're like, oh, well, maybe people need to be reminded of this and that. And we won't go into it. That's another hour for the show.
Trust me, I don't think anyone needs any more reminders of light ramp. Like, oh shit, they made it past light ramp. Oh, they wiped. Never mind. Back to light ramp.
Yeah, never mind.
Yep.
And back to light rampant.
We were expected 24 hours, man. I was
then light rampant
for
happened.
2 days.
You hear the I forget the name of the instrument, the dun 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 dun, dun, and then it's right back to phase 1 every time. That's it.
I was happy to see that, to be honest with you. I'm glad I didn't cut that in half. No, the no checkpoint, and the fact, the other thing that kind of held people up was that buff from the ad phase.
Yeah.
Because they didn't realize it was
buff?
there.
Is it really a buff? Does it even fucking matter? Should you go for it?
Pog?
No.
Pog?
Pog? Pog? Pog? Pog?
What?
That's what. Did you not see the Twitch clip that the Twitch put out? They took a bunch of people who were streaming it, and they from hours they took FBI, me saying FBI open up when the young Shiva came out. My favorite thing about that clip is Arthur's is in it for a second and a half. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He's just in it for a second and a half, and then they just clip away from him, and I'm like, what? What did they do?
No, I will say their cuts were on point because, I don't know what Arthur's did after that, but at the end of the clip, after all the pogs, what they cut off from that was Tate saying, "What do you say?
We just killed a miner. We just killed a naked miner.
What the fuck?
Then you hear Whoops go, Tate! Oh no, I didn't mean to delete the VOD. Delete the VOD.
Yeah, that was a weird situation to kind of put out there. You're like, oh, all these WoW players are watching this. Oh, they all their jokes about Final Fantasy 14 being a weird weeb game is not legitimate, right?
I don't think that has anything to do with this situation right now.
There's some kind of, what's the, I don't know. And we won't get into that. We already did.
All I remember is that happening and me thinking in my head, I want someone to animate this moment. I can already see it. I can already see the seagulls popping up for the pogs instead of the mine, and then I can see Tate being dragged away in an animation form into Yoshi P's office. I can see the whole animation, but I have no artistic skill whatsoever.
Me either. I suck so much.
I can direct it, but I can't in any way draw it.
Every once in a while I try to go up and draw. I'm dragging. Never mind. I'm dragging your show out. I'm sorry, man.
That's fine. You did that enough.
That's fine.
I was just gonna say I'm like, man, I really want to. I have this idea in my head and I want to draw it, and I go and I draw it. And I'm like, man, this looks like shit. This is horrible. Why did I even think about doing this? And then I just go and do something else. That's my whole artistic experience.
You just peepo leave.
Mm-hmm.
I had to approve that emote. Okay. With that, thank you for making our show the normal length, which was somehow not expected, despite having watched Mogtalk before.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I got a lot of laughs out of that. All right. That's a good thing. Yeah. That's smiles.
I'm sorry. Could you go ahead and wrap up the show, Mr. Happy?
Oh, I was going to ask you to do it. I want you to thank our sponsors. I want you to remind people of the links under the channel. I want you to then you cut to the guest first, then you go to Sly, then you go to me, and then we say goodbye. We hang out in post show for 5 minutes. Can you handle that?
Yeah. So thank you, Steel Series, and thank you the other sponsors. I don't keep up with enough. Let me check down. Let me scroll down a little bit.
Though that's not where the sponsors are. Those are maybe affiliates. You're looking too far.
The coffee, Double Jump Coffee. Thank you.
That's an affiliate. Mm-hmm.
Green Man Gaming.
That's an affiliate.
Thank you very much.
Still not talking about sponsors. That's fine.
Okay.
The
and
patrons maybe could use a thank you.
Patrons. Thank you all the patrons. You can see you scrolling. Your names are over there on the side of the show. I think I am pointing the right way. I think. And thank you all you chat people.
Yes, you are.
All you chat people. Yeah.
Patrons of Darkness.
Patrons of Darkness. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. Do you know their
names? Rav Mal of Cactuar.
No, those aren't the Patrons of
Allandra.
Darkness. Those are. That's one tier of patrons.
All right, hold on. Let me click on your Patreon.
You're not going to see their names there.
Okay, I don't know them. I don't know them.
Khuja Cross on Jenova and Kurenai Oni.
Kurenai Oni and what was the other one?
Khuja Cross on
Khuja Cross.
Khuja Cross at Jenova or on Jenova. Thank you so much for your Patreon, and you are a Patreon of Darkness. That's good.
Yeah. You gotta.
Yeah.
Now you gotta say who.
Could you please? So, if you wouldn't mind, I guess you know what, I'm going to be last on this one since I'm controlling.
No,
it.
you're the guest, so you still have to, and then you still have to get us.
Yes.
Okay, so could you cut the screen over to me, please?
No, it's ever since a few weeks ago, OBS has been fucked and we haven't fixed. Oh no, you weren't around. I lost everything on my hard drive, and I don't have I've lost most of my assets. I need to get new ones made.
How'd you lose it?
It bricked, is what happened.
It bricked.
And I have the PNGs, but I don't have the PSDs.
I hope this is a wake up call for you, the raid, and get a raid set up with it so it would.
I already have it backed up on 3 hard drives now. What I have now is backed up on 3, but the old stuff is not.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Just say goodbye now. Is what I'm telling Mr. Host.
Okay. Goodbye now,
Plug
Mr.
yourself.
Host. What do? Oh, I say it. Okay, so I do my goodbyes now. I'm sorry. I'm
you plug
completely
yourself.
lost.
Plug yourself. Yes.
So if you guys want to follow any of my content, I'd recommend just going to my Twitter right now because that's where I'm mostly communicating for everything I'm doing, which is a very stupid name. It's at Frosty TV Stream because I wanted to make it a long name that made no sense. No, I didn't really want to do that. I just made a Twitter for stream, and it made sense to throw stream at the end of it because Frosty TV was taken for some reason. Fuck that guy. But saying that in general, I would say follow that. Hopefully we'll have Mogtalk and streaming and everything else coming back. At the beginning of fall is what I'm aiming for. September is kind of the goal, since I should be done most of school then, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of stuff that's coming up. I hope you guys enjoy the new patch coming out. And if you can go watch old episodes of me being a dumbass if you want to, they still exist. I did delete all my VODs. Mostly there's just a few left on there, and I deleted all my clips just in case because I didn't want to just look through all of them and find the ones that would be maybe questionable. So
fortunately, it's all on YouTube.
Yeah, all my episodes are on YouTube, so you're good. Except for 4, for some reason, I think I never got it onto YouTube. I don't think I was ever able to get 4 on there. I don't know why. I think there's an issue uploading it. It just never made it there. One day, I'll just do an OBS record over to it, because I tried to export it over, and it just doesn't work. It just says failed every single time I try to export it. So maybe I'll just do a record of OBS and then upload it afterwards. I don't know. But yeah, that's me, and I guess Sly, if you wouldn't mind going next and doing your shout-outs and talking and saying the things that you would like to say.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Frosty, and thank you again for coming by and hosting our show this week. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. You can find me on Twitter at Sly the Fox. I am playing just pretty much everything. Oh, I probably said this the other week, but July 3rd, Beyond Primal. That's a Friday. That's a Friday night. Beyond Primal. Make sure you can get to Shirogane. If not, we can help you. you can hit me up. I will send you an invite to the FC house because there's going to be a thing. I can't say too much right now. It'll be on Twitter soon. Put it like this. We're shutting down our fucking war to Shirogane. Don't come after me, GMs, please. But it's in a good way. In a good way. But yeah. July 3rd. Friday, July 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be on Behemoth. Or Primal and just world travel to Behemoth. Please look forward to it. Hi. And happy.
Actually, I wanted to say one thing. I forgot to shout out people. Can I put that in? Should I put it in now?
You're the host. Go right ahead. Yeah, you're the show.
Because I feel pretty bad because I do want to say this for sure. I think everybody who came by to listen to me talk, I know I've been gone for a while, so it means a lot to hear you guys out there actually wanting to listen to things that I'm saying right now. So thank you guys for coming by. Your support has made me continue with Mogtalk. Without people supporting me and wanting me to do Mogtalk, I probably wouldn't be doing it. But the encouragement that I have received on stream, off stream, in random situations and random dungeons makes me want to keep doing it. And that's why I'm inspired to come back and do more. It's a pretty big part of my life, and you guys have made it worth it for sure. The other thing I do want to make sure, thank God for Kurara. She has been such a huge part of my life, and I definitely wouldn't have made it past the last couple of months without her. I'd probably be dead in the street for all I know. So she has done a lot to keep me mentally healthy, and she means the world to me. I also want to say thank you guys both very much, Mike and Sly, for inviting me on, because I've been kind of itching to talk and be on a podcast and discuss things, as you can tell.
Don't say.
Yeah, and so giving me this outlet today has meant a lot, and has been really good for me. So thank you so much for inviting me on to do it. But that's my shout outs. So
happy.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for. You can find me, Mr. Happy 127, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. PSO2 has been everything for me for the past 2 weeks at this point, no matter how much it fucks me on RNG, which is a lot, mind you. I mentioned earlier, Dauntless, I believe, is having an update this week. There is the PS5 reveal event. There is the PC Gamer event, so almost like a mini E3, essentially. I know what that smile's for, Sly. Anyway, I can already see you bobbing your head to that one. June 16th is the Pokemon expansion, Isle of Armor, so I'll be doing all that stuff, and as anything 14 related happens, you'll hear about it on the show, you'll hear about it on the YouTube channel. But after taking a bit of a week or so break from doing some YouTube stuff, getting back on that. So review of PSO2, maybe a quick tips guide for that, because despite being out for 8 years, I have not seen such a disarray of available information for something that has been around for so fucking long, as well as people who have played it for 8 years, and somehow it's just it baffles me how out of place a lot of the information is. And then Versus series, we're working on the tank one, so back on working on that. Ubisoft is also Friday. There you go. Yeah, it's basically mini E3 this weekend, mini digital E3 across a bunch of stuff. So we'll have coverage of all that stuff. Okay, with that, we're gonna move on into a short post show, because I'm sure Frosty has some stuff he has to get to. I'm sure Sly has stuff he has to get to. And I definitely have stuff I have to get to. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thank you again to the sponsors over on Patreon, whose names have been scrolling. Thank you to SteelSeries for sponsoring as well. And we'll see you next week, where at the moment we have confirmed work to games Brian, as I like to say with Stewie's voice. We have confirmed that. We're having 100% confirmed Chris, but we will at least have some form of work to game on the show next week to continue Podcast Highlight Month. Because A, they're good people, and B, we don't have a show if we didn't do that. So it's been great having all these podcasts on, and hopefully those of you who have been tuning into those podcasts, checking out their old podcasts, and filling the void of your Final Fantasy XIV life with the excellent content the other podcasters we've been bringing on the show have been making. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week. Until then.
See you next week.
I like the wave.
Yeah, always wave.